time on the wilds of Valandiir, the Crown Collectors had been in pursuit of a legendary fey beast known as the Onak, a bison-like creature of epic proportions with a literal forest on its back. After experiencing the magical effect on the landscape in the wake of the great beast's stride, the group tangled with a few animated plants. After the dust and snow had settled, Koza led a conversation with the Onak. How they could help it return home, perhaps find its youngling. After some convincing and crafty use of transfiguration magic, the group readied a portal to the Fae, and looking through a world wholly unknown to them. And that's where we're going to pick up, right there. As I said last week, we're going to, retro it that you guys slept, woke up, and then did your polymorph on the Onak. You stand before a somewhat familiar portal against a large tree, but the edges of it have an iridescent sheen and throw small multicolored lightning bolts a few inches on either side of the portal face. In the portal energy, you can see a twisting of sunset-like colored light beams that you don't really remember being there whenever you would traverse through this tree transportation network. What do you all wish to do?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall us knowing anything about a youngling.
I believe. Well, you did. You did have.
Am I the only one who didn't?
No.
Oh yeah, no. I don't think anybody else knows that this thing has a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's us?
I guess not.
I don't think we established that. Oops.
Koza, I will allow you a quick 30-second breakdown on what's going on.
Okay, so basically, just like as we're stepping through the portal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, there might be.
Oh yeah, by the way, there's a kid.
Stuck in the real world or stuck in the Fae?
It's in the Feywild. That's why we have to go through there.
Okay. I'm just making sure there's not another one of these in the real world.
How many are there?
Yeah.
Ready. Anything else you just conveniently left out?
Yeah.
Well, what do you wish to do, all?
Well, I guess first I'll just try to get my bearings and take in what the scenery looks like after going through that portal.
All right, you're stepping through? Because right now you guys haven't yet.
Oh. Come on, guys, step
okay.
through it. It's really not that bad. You only feel your insides turn inside out for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
It's like getting a shot. It's not so bad.
Those of you magically blind, kind of feel a sense of rushing air around you without a whole lot of new feelings. Like, you guys have all been transporting now for the better part of 2 or 3 months straight, and more recently, even more so after had learned the transportation circle spell. But this does feel a little different to those not of arcana and magical quality, which doesn't really leave a whole lot of people, if any, except for perhaps Maven. I would say, Axton and Baranor, you guys have sort of the least amount of arcane threading through your bodies, although recently you guys have been taking up magic a little more seriously. You feel a sort of polarity shift in your inner ear magnetism, and it's very disorienting, even though it feels like you're walking down kind of a gravelly pathway as you rush forward. It doesn't pull you off your feet, but it does hustle you along, and these rainbow-like colors that surround you in a tunnel finally deposit you all in one group. Many of you kind of off-kilter a little bit, but you open your eyes as the blinding subsides. Question, are we bringing horses or cart?
I don't think we have the room for that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're in a large enough tree hovel that you're able to slide that cart and your horses through if you wish. I just need to know if you are, because that's been getting a little muddled lately.
I say bring it all.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we can, I say we should.
All right. Yeah, you deposit yourselves out the trunk of a tree on the other side and see this. A veritable cornucopia, I love that word, of verdant green and colorful life around you. Immediately, Axton, Kravish, and that's it. You all need to make Constitution saving throws, please. It's immediately. All right, how we doing here? Okay, cons. One from 26, 22 with a natural 20. That's pretty good.
Is this the same exact place as the previous day?
Nope, it is not.
Okay.
Let's see. Is Kenny? Kenny, you're muted, bud. I don't know if he's online right now.
That was con, right?
There you go. Con save, please.
13.
Okay. You're gonna unfortunately find that the atmosphere in this dense forest. Now, mind you, when you look around, you can clearly see that it's like sunset hour. So the ribbons of light kind of cutting through the trees here are pinks and purples, and you can see the sky is a hazy light blue with pink clouds and orange clouds sort of racing in strange curling like designs and patterns. It's hard to see through the trees. You're in a dense forest. You're going to find that the atmosphere here is very, very thick, and I'm going to say that you find your nose kind of start to get fuzzy and warm and tingly, and you definitely feel a sneeze coming on, but it never quite arrives, and you feel your eyes starting to water just gently.
Yep. Better brew up some essence of Zyrtec.
Kravish and Axton, you both as well definitely feel a heaviness to the air. It is as if there's a pressure kind of building on every square inch of your body at once. It's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely present. And you also you can feel like your nostrils on the inside are slowly kind of tightening just a little bit, making it a little hard to breathe. And you feel yourself kind of giving a sniffle, and you get that plugged feeling in your nasal sinuses. The rest of you, especially especially Maven, you feel like there is more oxygen here than in the prime realm that you just left. You feel like you can finally breathe, like you've sort of been holding your breath, and all of a sudden you can take a breath now, and it feels very, very enriching to your lungs. Not so much with Baranor, but Koza, you too. It's not quite as affected as it is on Maven. And all of you kind of look around at these large, curled, moss-covered trees that seem to tower above any large tree you've ever seen and form this kind of patchwork canopy gazebo shade above you. You all notice there's sort of a light, a dimness, a dim light emitting from Maven's skin. And as you look at her, you could have sworn that it's like her eyes are a little bigger, a little more brilliant. There's starlight in the pupils of her eyes. And you notice that her ears have elongated by about 2 inches to very fine points at the end. Baranor, all of you look at Baranor and notice as well, and with Koza, that their ears have lengthened slightly, not as much as Maven's, but definitely lengthened a little, with a little tight little curl at the end, much pointier, and their skin also much more dimly radiates this dim glow. Baranor, your purple eyes are actively glowing, and you can feel this connection. Sorry?
I was thinking something along those lines.
Yeah, you can feel this kind of this vague connection with this place, although it seems wholly unfamiliar to you. It's almost on a genetic level, like you feel kind of a pull in every direction, but it's held back by something. Whereas Koza, and that goes for you too. You've been here before. This is a familiar feeling to you, a kind of a deep rooted in the bones connection to the landscape here, but disconnected in some way as well too. But yeah, Maven, you feel like you could lay down on the forest floor and wrap yourself in a moss blanket and just sleep for 20 years.
Oh, wow. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Am I glowing? I am glowing. This is amazing.
You are glowing. You are glowing, honey.
Just a little bit of a candle. Hopefully we don't have to sneak anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to need, right away, I'm going to need survival checks or perception checks from definitely Koza and anybody else who wants to lead the charge on where to go, because you're in the middle of the forest and you don't really recognize anything.
Alrighty.
I know what I'm doing.
Oh, come on.
Did that just use my speakers? Oh shit. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna do
1-8 is good.
guidance. Not that I need it.
Yeah, pretty good too.
24 total.
24, a 28. That's pretty good. Baranor, you don't recognize this area of the forest, unfortunately, but
Yep.
you do know like which way to go. You remember what the color. You remember the sky looking like this the last time you were here. It looked exactly like this. It doesn't seem like much time has made the sun go down at all. So you're pretty sure which way is, if there were an east, like you kind of adopted directions and what to call them, and you're pretty sure which direction you have to go. You've just never been in this part of the ocean, this part of the forest.
Does my compass do anything?
Your compass, that is a really good question. It's just a standard compass, right?
A brass compass, I think.
Okay. You're gonna notice that it points the northern arrow points in a direction that you wouldn't expect based on where the sun is.
Okay.
And if you were using your compass before, and I'm guessing you probably grabbed it just to flash a look at it, I would say that you know where quote unquote north is.
Okay. Feywild North?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So anybody got an idea where we're going? Because this is all new to me.
I don't know where we are. I could tell you the direction that we went last time, but no clue. Koza?
Well,
Is there since we're in the Feywild now, can we then now go through a tree to get to the place we're going?
well, I'm not so sure that my crown has any charges left.
It's a brand new day, isn't it?
It is not a brand new day since he used it. He just used it to get you here.
Oh, okay.
And you're standing next to a 7-foot bison who is kind of pawing at the grass and like kind of walking in slowly walking in one direction
Yeah,
and
let's
turning it
break
around.
polymorph on him
maybe-
so that he
yeah,
can like go back
maybe
to
he
his
knows.
normal size.
Yeah, he knows where to go. Maybe.
You believe that lasts for an hour, right? Is that what we discovered?
Yeah,
You can
or
just drop
until
it,
like
though,
you
right?
could dispel it.
Yeah. I think you can just drop it as a bonus action or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not my spell.
I think
Yeah, I
Yuno's
think
the
it's-
one that cast it.
It's Yuno's spell.
Drop it.
You drop it? Alright, I need everybody to make a dex save.
Ah,
Oh,
shit.
boy.
Okay? Because he's standing right next to you.
Don't stand. Don't stand
so close to him.
Oh, come on. That was almost an 18.
Okay. Time to punish the short-sighted. All right.
Guidance? No, I can't. It's a reaction. Not guidance for myself. I don't even think that works.
Dirty 20 on you.
Hey! Oh, I gotta do Luna.
You know, I'm sure you have a ward up, so...
Hey, that's nice.
Okay.
Luna can be
18, 20.
dexterous.
Yep. Baranor and... Alright, so Maven takes nothing. You flip out of the way. What happens is this. Just drops the spell, and instantly you're all hit in the face with a wall of fur as this thing completely consumes the space immediately around it. Sir Kravish and Baranor, Luna, you all kind of manage to sort of, you don't really dodge it. You can't dodge something like this. You manage to just kind of get smacked with it, grab hold of the fur with your fingertips, and just sort of ride this out. Unfortunately, Axton and Koza, you guys just kind of got trampled by a large fold of its skin, and it literally just scrapes you across the ground as it expands. You are going to take 14. Yeah, you're going to take 20 points of bludgeoning damage, both of you. Everybody else but Maven, you're going to take half of that, which is 10.
God damn it.
Say again, so I took 10?
You take 10 if you passed.
How does Luna look in this environment, just out of curiosity?
Well, she's a wolf in the prime,
Yes.
in the prime dimension, in the prime plane. So here she looks like a wolf. She doesn't have any extenuating markings or anything. You do notice that I believe she has blue eyes, right?
I mean, I like to think that she has blue eyes, yes.
Yeah, they do have kind of not a glow, but a brightness to them that you weren't used to seeing. It might have been that she was against a white background last time you saw her in the snow, but here she does have kind of just a regular black wolf look to her.
Okay.
She's looking at you kind of weird though, because you can see that everyone's looking at you, and I don't know that you have a way to look at you. I think you guys still have that mirror, but you would notice that your features are just a little more defined, and
I would imagine I would look like myself though in the mirror, because it's the true sight mirror.
Yeah, and yet you would still see those changes.
Okay. I just kind of put my hand down and have her sniff. I'm like, it's still me.
You may want to give a little warning next time before you drop a polymorph like that. just file that for future reference.
The Onak has grown to his 100-foot height. His hooves kind of shift and move around you, making the ground tremble. He knocks over trees, which send purple and orange and blue leaves tumbling to the ground along with their branches. And you can hear him audibly take a deep breath in. He raises a foot and lowers it. Raises another foot and lowers it. It trembles the ground around you.
All right. Well, Big Papa, where do we go from here?
Did you guys ride it up, or did it knock you guys loose?
What do you mean?
Was anyone riding it?
Those who passed their dex save.
Yeah.
Oh.
Were you riding this thing's expanse into its full form upwards or outwards? I'll leave it up to you.
Outwards.
Okay, so you're ground level.
Yep.
And Koz is definitely ground level, so even if anybody was riding it, you would still not really know where you're at because you've never been here before.
Where'd Maven go?
Right here.
Where did? Yeah, she's just kind of like sidestepped all of this.
Yeah. With
So
her
like
Brazilian,
free back handsprings. It's
her
fine.
Brazilian feet of movement, yeah.
Not that much.
It's a lot.
Koza, I think you're the only one that understands what this thing says.
Yep.
I can cast tongues and I can understand it.
Okay. Did you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. It starts to moan and kind of and do that bison mooing sound, and the two of you understand to say, finally I am home. The air smells as sweet as it has, although it takes it a considerable amount of time to say that.
Oh, we're glad that you're home now. Can you please direct us where it is that we need to go from here?
From here, must find youngling.
Where do we start the search?
And it has to kind of like bend down to look at you, and doesn't really come eye to eye with you. That's very difficult for something so large.
Mm-hmm.
You see him just slowly turn his body, pounding his hooves as he sort of scuttles and shifts to the side. Do not know where youngling is. Does not return my call.
I hate it when people ghost you like that. Alright, well, how does one return your call? I'm curious.
And you hear that sound ricochet and echo off of distant hills and canyons and tree trunks, and nothing comes back after a few moments.
A little warning, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Do you have any other friends in this area that may help assist us?
Friends.
Anybody else in your herd or anything?
Herd. Onak does not have herds anymore. And he looks down at Koza and he says, he has friends here.
Alright. Well, Koza, you're on, man.
Oh boy. Well, let me get a quick survey of the area, and I'm gonna wild shape into an owl and fly straight up.
Straight up. Okay. You wild shape quickly into a silently flapping owl, and you pierce the canopy with ease. The space between the trees is large enough for you to fit through, and you pop out. A couple of iridescent leaves kind of follow you into the air as you flap, and you're going to make a very heartfelt perception check in owl form. Does wild shape let you keep your stats?
I think it changes all your stats except for mental. Hang on.
Are you guys keeping us apprised of what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. We're trying to figure out. We're trying to get our bearings. Big boy here tried to call his young, and he didn't get a response.
Well, the town that we went to last time was that direction, but I have no clue how far. Can we contact the bog mother or something? Sorry. Her real name.
Oh, please.
Your game statistics are replaced by the statistics of the beast, but you retain your alignment, personality, and intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. So, yeah, just give me a perception check as Koza.
Okay.
You guys notice that he flies about maybe 60 feet in the air, 20 of which is above the canopy line.
Perception. All right.
Fair to middling, not bad. Okay. As you soar through the air, your first sight is the sunset, and that kind of helps you gauge which direction you're facing. You spin around to where you remember Drelka's village was, and you do indeed see in the distance, looks like about maybe 6-7 miles. There's a couple of hills between you and there. It looks like there might be a valley between a sloping mountainside far in the distance. It sort of starts to de-elevate in your direction. So you get the feeling you're about 6 miles away, which, with the cart and all, you're looking at probably maybe a 3 to 4 hour journey. You guys did just awaken, so you're at the very beginning of an 8-hour day.
All right, I'm gonna fly down and relay that to the party.
Okay.
Yeah, a 3-hour tour.
Yep.
A 3-hour tour. All right. So Koza kind of relays bearing and distance.
Yeah. He lets you know that there's a very, very large, 300-foot wide at the base, large tree that its hollowed out root system forms this village that he and Baranor visited. And you have no idea what he's talking about. You can't see that far into the forest at all, and you don't see anything towering over the distant treetops through the canopies. So you're just you've got a bearing, you got a heading, and that's pretty much it.
Question here. Question: Would no, for the group. Would us traveling with this thing slow it down, or we brought the horse and carts with us, but this thing could just carve a path that we can follow behind. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, Koza, if you would perch on the big fella and you can relay information to us as far as any change in direction or any obstacles up ahead, and we can just tow behind him.
Ooh, that's a pretty good idea. I don't know how long. Let me see. How long do I stay wild shaped for?
It's not very long, if I remember correctly.
No, it's like a number of hours.
Number of hours, half your druid level.
Yeah, or you sit on the head end, somebody else sits in there around the rump end, and we just kind of play telephone.
I will say,
I can help with that.
You guys have not moved much. You kind of got the cart through here. One of the car wheels is damaged. It was damaged with the blights.
Fuck.
So I will say, I forgot about it too. I will say that it is not able to make any kind of journey right now. It is almost completely hobbled. That last burst through the tree portal was enough to just wreck the wheel.
Okay,
well,
so it's unusable right now?
It is unusable. It is stopping its motion.
Okay. What do we have packed? Can we just kind of get to the horses as far as central gear?
Yeah, we can just we can just shift everything to the horses, I think. I don't think we have anything substantial that...
No, we don't have any big loot items or anything like that.
No, if I remember correctly, you guys have a large canvas tent. You have several crates of food. You've got barley and wheat and herbs and stuff like that. You've got some, this is what came with the cart pretty much, and you guys did make an attempt to kind of stock it with things at one point in your adventures. So it does have provisions on it, but nothing of extreme value, no. That's all in your bag of holding.
Well, we'll just take what rations we can, and
the sucks to leave all that food behind. It's gonna feed the wildlife around here for a bit.
Yeah, well, our contribution to the war effort, I guess.
Could you? I guess tiny hut is a concentration, right?
Tiny hut? No, I don't believe it. Tiny hut is
No, I don't think so.
Never mind, but he would have to stay here with it. Never mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he steps out of it and it drops.
Yeah.
That will not work.
No.
Oh well.
Okay. All right. We'll grab what we can. leave the big tent behind and the. Do we want to try and camouflage the tent or the cart a bit, so it's not as noticeable?
Well, I'm going to say this, Baranor, that you and the other active perceptive members of the party, like Axton and you do notice that the grass around the cart, you can see that it is very slowly starting to curl and grow around the bottom of the wheels.
Oh boy.
Like, it's very slow, but you're just kind of focused on the cart. You're really looking at it. It does remind you a little bit of when you guys were tracking the Onak through the woods, and you noticed that the forestry was slowly, like, some of it was changed, and that change was slowly receding as the Onak, got further from it. That's kind of what it reminds you of, except it's like growing slowly over the wheels.
Got it. Okay. Well, it seems like nature's already kind of doing it for us, but do we want to add some more to, add some more to it? For all we know, the cart could be eaten by the time we get back, so. Or we could come back to a living cart. Animated cart.
Animated cart. I like that. Cart mimic.
Yeah. Nah, nothing. I didn't say mimic. I said animated cart.
It's
big difference.
Don't carts usually have like a boot chest at the back? Like that's where its mouth is?
No. We're not. No.
Let's not give the DM any ideas.
No. I said animated cart.
All right.
Okay.
The cart is left behind. I am going to indeed need a marching order as the Onak is slowly walking through the woods, and you notice that he's kind of, his footfalls, it's weird. When you're right up next to the Onak and he's slowly walking, he raises and sets down a hoof about once every 3 seconds, so it's a very slow trot, but he has such a long stride that he's able to move great distance. So you're going to have to cut your speed in half to keep up with him, so it's not like a typical trot through the woods. It's more of a gentle kind of movement.
A stroll.
Yeah, a stroll. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to need a marching order, and being that the Onak isn't really conveying any information to anybody, even Koza, about what it sees, because number one, it's so high above you, it's got a different perspective. And number two, it doesn't really consider things like monsters a threat like you would, so it's not really going to be a valuable resource for keeping an eye on things. So I will need
if someone would
checks from you guys.
If someone would look after my horse, I will join Koza up top. I don't know if the Onak would, not mind just kind of perch up in the antlers or something.
I mean, it's pretty easy to climb up where the trees are growing, and mind you, it probably has anywhere between 17 and 18, maybe 17 to 20 trees growing on its back. Perching anywhere on it, you get the understanding that either it doesn't feel you or it doesn't give a shit.
Okay.
And I just figured the tug on its spur as you climb to the point where you get up to where there's like boulders that you can like lean up against and like perch and really kind of chill and sit.
Okay.
It's a veritable forest floor on its back.
Right, but I'm thinking more on the antlers on the head.
Yeah, you could climb up there.
Okay.
It feels like climbing a great big dead tree. The branches are the antlers that form these branch-like structures outward, and definitely feels a little stronger. It doesn't feel like dead wood. It's kind of, vaguely flexible at the end. It doesn't feel like it would really break or snap that easy. Okay. And so I'll take a perception from Baranor, definitely, And I'm going to need one from somebody on the ground as well, as you all traverse through the woods.
Two from Maven.
All right.
Perception.
We'll
Guidance.
go with that.
Uh-huh.
If it helps, my passive is 23.
It does help. Actually.
I got a 28 total.
Okay.
Also,
All
as a side, Luna is almost glued to the side, like walking side by side with Maven's horse.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Maven, you've got your eyes on a swivel. You feel like you could see really, really well, almost like a cat's perception is better at night, or at least that's what they say. Everything seems to have a vaguely glowing. Yeah, no, not D&D exactly. But yeah, everything seems to have this very faint outline that sort of like makes it easier for you to spot individual objects. And you can see by the depth of the forest. Everything is amplified, and you're really able to get your bearings here. You know exactly which direction, quote unquote, north is, and you don't feel like you've been here before. But that lends little to the fact that you definitely feel like you could get around here if you needed to. Like a real just deep connection to the land that you don't really remember feeling anywhere. But there are things that people see. And I will start with those up on the Onak's back. Koza and Baranor in the distance. Now, mind you, you have a grand view of the landscape, and you do see that there are some trees that are much larger than others, and than the bulk of the forest canopies, which, mind you, themselves are about 60 to 70 feet tall. Tall trees, just on the regular. You see there are other large, tall trees that some extend just beneath the Onak's shoulder, and you guys kind of like pass them by, and you can see birds sort of circling the branches, but there are some that tower above the Onak, and you kind of are in awe of this strange landscape, because you can clearly see mountains in the background, and they curl at the tips. And you see, in the real taller ones, you see these long icicles of, eons of frigid temperature dripping down this overlooking peak of a mountain, almost giving this mountainside kind of like a fanged appearance. And you notice way, way, way in the distance, miles, maybe 30, 40 miles away, possibly, you see this very slow-moving, geometric, mountainous object that is moving. You can't hear a thing. And as you look at it, you notice that it's slowly moving across the horizon to a degree of distance away that is far beyond where you're going. And I would say that if you could perceive colors, you'd notice that it's covered in crystal or white of something, some kind like this, and it looks very much like this. Immense in its size.
Whoa!
It's moving very, very, very slowly. You don't see color, you just see varying darknesses of shadow.
Whoa.
As this thing slowly passes across the background of the horizon before you. It very well could be miles and miles long itself. And you don't feel a trembling in the earth at its passing. You don't hear the sound of its footsteps. You just see it slowly shifting along, almost like a passing cloud system that passes over in front of the sunset. This huge shape. On the ground, we're gonna say that definitely Axton and Maven, both of you zero in on this site that passes you by, or you pass by rather. That as soon as you see it, you'd expect it to want to run away, but it doesn't. A glowing object next to a huge twisted tree about maybe 50 feet away from your group. You see a moose-like antler system atop a glowing elk-like creature. It's just standing there. There are various sprites and spriggans of glowing Orbis energy surrounding it and the tree trunk next to it. It just stands there stoically watching you as you pass.
I'm guessing we've never seen anything like it before.
No. You've definitely never seen a glowing deer.
Anyone know what that thing is? Is it like, I don't know, important? Is it cool? Is it...
Do I recognize anything? Any stories?
friendly? Should we be wary? I have no idea.
Well, let's see. I'll let you make an insight check just on the environment. Kravish, you're free to make a history check. You are a lore bard. I'll say that none of you have ever, regardless whether you know what it is, none of you have ever seen one of these before.
Nope. And
I cast guidance for my insight check.
Okay. Oh, no.
I have no idea. The total.
I mean, you're sort of freaked out a little in general, Axton, being that this place is so alien and strange, and like everything about the Feywild is sort of turned up to 11. The color saturation is on, a different level, and you definitely feel like this place is a different dimension, and I think being that this is your first time in a place like this, it's very disorienting, and everything is kind of freaking you out. The large mushrooms, the weird twitchy grass, the twisted giant trees, the glowing deer, all of it's a little much for you. So you're a little nervous, you're a little on edge, and whether you feel threatened by this thing is irrelevant. You kind of feel threatened by everything.
I'm intrigued yet terrified.
Definitely.
I want to eat everything and not die. So, yeah.
So, Maven, you've never seen one of these before. I'm gonna say that you almost can hear something coming from this deer. It's not a thought, and it's more than an emotional feeling. It's an instinct. It's a knee-jerk reaction. And all you get from it is curiosity. Deep, deep curiosity.
I think we're okay. I think it just is curious about us. It should be fine. We'll be fine.
okay.
All right. Yeah. You guys kind of but tiptoe through the tulips, and you notice that the vegetation in the area begins to slowly shift. I mean, mushrooms are pretty prevalent here, but it seems like you guys are wandering into a mushroom forest, per se. There are large, tall mushrooms with these wide, canopy-like mushroom caps. Some of them glow internally. There are a wide variety of colors, mostly kind of earth tones, but there are some wild neon blues and kind of hot pink that sort of crest around the edge of one of these large mushrooms, until you find yourself walking through, and you guys are keeping a bit of distance away from the Onak. He seems like he's sort of doing his best to step in between large trees. Most of them are pretty unavoidable, and he seems to be squashing flat, vast parts of the forest, but you walk through this mushroom, heavy mushroom area, and who's out front? I would say, Axton, are you out front?
Sure.
Okay, one of these mushrooms, it's about 7-8 feet tall. Actually, it's directly in front of you, and you'd have to turn your horse to avoid it. Its top portion spins around, and you are face to face with this. Abruptly. You see a pair of eyes, and this like fungal growth erupting from its shoulder starts to twist and wiggle, like almost like billowing hair. Its large, wide-brimmed hat-like mushroom cap head just kind of raises, and you see these two eerily dark and empty sunken eyes in its body kind of open briefly, and its humanoid-like torso with these long spiderling fingers of fungal growths just sort of separate, and you see it kind of swell a little bit, and it looks like it's trying to say something, although all you hear is this eerie chittering. And as you do, you see another one twist around, and its legs kind of break from the ground. It pulls its root-like feet out of the ground and stands with three kind of insect-like legs, one out front and two in the back, and it kind of shifts around its friend, who also grows a couple of feet. You see 5 of these stump-like legs with real round, flat feet-like bottoms grow around it. It has this lattice of crab legs around it as it sort of skitters around to the other side. It's not in your way as much, but it's the both of them are still standing in your path.
Have I heard or seen of these types of creatures before?
Well, you're a gardener, so I'll let you make a nature check.
Again, guidance.
And anybody else who wants to make a nature check is free to, if you are proficient in it.
For the record, that's the first gift that shows up. Sorry.
15 total for nature.
Okay. What was that, Baranor?
Oh, I was going to say that for the record, that's the first gift that shows up when you search mushroom.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Alright, Kervish, I think you were saying something.
I was saying, it's like, can I discern what all the chittering means? Because tongues is probably still up.
What? Well, guys have been going for about an hour. How long does that stay up?
An hour, so we're probably in the waning minutes of it.
Okay. And that's anybody around you, or you have to touch them? I guess you don't have to touch them, right? That sounds kind of weird.
No, I'm a target, so I'm being spoken language.
Well, then, no, you don't understand what they're saying because it's not a language. It's just it's sort of a mechanical form of communication that these creatures have adopted. It's more of an instinctual thing. I'll give you this much. I'll say that, like Maven, her connection to that deer, be able to feel some sort of instinctual feeling from it. You definitely get something like that from them when you use your tongue spell. You can feel that they are very guarded, and they feel like they're being disturbed and have not been for some time, and that's annoying. And what are these creatures' intentions? That kind of thing.
Okay. So I guess the best thing we can do is probably just stay quiet, eyes forward, and make as little ruckus as possible.
Are you going to walk through them?
They're. You said they're like blocking our path?
Yeah, they're shit in your way. And as you're standing here, you're seeing maybe 3 more behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And those 3 kind of like turn around, and they have slightly all have different mushroom caps. Like some of them are very tall and skinny, some of them are spread out and flared and frayed, and they all kind of move together in the back. The 3, they sort of clump up, and it looks like they're kind of watching you and then turning to each other and then watching you, and so you can hear that chittering between the 3. And so yeah, you got quite a handful of them, and they are in your way.
Okay. I will break out my mandolin and I will just start just kind of a calming, soothing corral type piece, just to try to keep everybody chill.
Okay. Go ahead and make a performance check if you would. Oh
31.
boy. Oh man. I'm gonna say that you play so well. Unfortunately, it has sort of the opposite effect of giving you birth. These creatures start to congregate around you, and they're all taller than you. And you're just surrounded by mushroom people and big mushroom people crab legs. Like they're all kind of they all start to swarm Kravish. They're not doing anything aggressive. They're just slowly skittering over to Kravish to the point where they're sort of separating Maven away from Kravish, and now it's kind of these creatures are between Kravish and everybody else.
Hey, man, it's a hard lot to be this good.
And I try to meander back through the crowd, or are they pressed together so you can't get back through?
Yeah, they're crabby legs.
God.
Are sort of crisscrossed around Kravish to the point where you'd have to climb over them. You'd have to touch them.
This is Steph's nightmare. Yeah,
it really is.
Steph's nightmare.
I would say I would like to keep in mind that they don't look like crab legs. They're crab-like in their jointature. They look like mushroom trunks that are bendy.
Okay.
They don't have tightness appearance to them. It's much more of mushroom roots that are bent in different ways.
Steph, fine place.
Cleaner is your best friend.
I don't want to talk about it.
Off within a fresh.
Is someone listening to a commercial somewhere?
Yeah. Who's listening to a commercial?
Not I said the duck.
I didn't realize my phone was on.
Oh.
My phone was just open. I didn't realize it was open. Sorry.
Nice. That's okay.
Hey, yeah, guys. All right, so I will start to kind of taper off my playing a little bit. And I'm just trying to motion that, just kind of direct, I want to go this way.
They do kind of, and at this point, your tongues has worn off.
Yeah.
So you get the feeling that they're not understanding exactly what you're saying. They do look in the direction that you're pointing. You see them start to back up and spread out. You do hear kind of an audible groan from one of them, but almost in a beckoning way. You hear them it's very faint, and it's like they're using parts of their, if you could call it a throat, that they're not used to using, perhaps. And you see one of the creatures as they give you birth, and you start to, I'm assuming you guys are going to continue to slowly move through the area. Okay, one of them, you look at it extends one of its appendages, and you see it peel from its wrist all the way to its elbow, kind of a string of mushroom material. And at the elbow, you see him pull it kind of taut, and he just rubs what looks like a digit on the end of his appendage, and kind of pulls on it and lets it go, and it goes down.
I will go on one of the low strings of my mandolin and just kind of pluck it as well. Just kind of a boom.
Yeah, the sound coming off your mandolin is much more crisp and clean and finely tuned. This thing kind of slaps its little arm guitar string, and it just sort of does this warbling horribly out of tune. It sort of offends your ears just a little bit, but he kind of pulls it out of his elbow and pulls it tight, and this little tiny baby arm of an appendage erupts from his chest, and you see him and he pulls it tight, and he's not moving with you, so you're moving away from him as you see him turn around to his compatriots.
as I'm walking, I'm kind of following along and matching the tones.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna give Kravish inspiration on that one, as this creature continues its exploration into music. It's not long before your journey starts to slow. Koza, you can see this huge red-leafed tree that spreads out for hundreds of feet in every direction. It's easily 600 feet tall, and you can tell that there is a constant, slow trickle raining down of leaves from this tree's numerous branches that slowly kind of pepper the ground under it in red leaves. You're about maybe a quarter of a mile away, and that's when Axton, you see a mounted creature in the shadow of a low-hanging tree. You're not exactly sure what they're riding, but everything about them is smaller than you, and you definitely hear kind of a swine-like coming from it, and you can see the outline of a spear.
I pointed out and let everybody else know what I see.
Hey, Koza, you think they're good down there?
Well, do I recognize the spear point at all?
I don't know if Koza
You
can
are
see
way
it.
too high. Yeah, you're above everything.
You're like at the
Yeah.
20th floor of a skyscraper, man.
Yeah.
You guys are way
think-
up there.
You think if I drop a coin from this height, it'll split
It'll
someone
kill
in half
somebody.
now?
Only one way to find out.
Yeah,
Yep.
you got lots to use.
Use a copper piece.
Whoever I can, talk to, I'll let them know that's what I see.
All right. Well, what are we doing? Don't all talk at once.
Yeah. Are we at? Would you say they're within 120 feet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. So I will use a message cantrip just to let them know that I'll point it out towards Baranor, just to let them know that we've spotted something questionable intent. Mounted riders with spears.
I can answer back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Message?
Okay, I was-
Yes, message is two-way.
Okay.
25 words.
Okay. Do you require assistance?
You're thinking about sending. Message
Oh,
is cantrip.
okay.
There's no limit,
Okay.
Right.
but it's only a whisper, and only I'm the one that hears it. I'll reapply the cantrip and say, not certain right now. Situation developing.
All right. Keep us posted.
Next message.
Yeah. Oh God. Why didn't we get in the running car?
How far do I have to go to see if I have this thing without having to dig for it? Probably should have had it ready, right?
You're coming in a little garbled, but
I got it. That's because I'm not really talking out loud.
okay. We can hear you just fine. It's just garbled.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. That shape, which is definitely the whole shape is medium in size. However, the creature atop the mount is considered small. What you see that Koza does not see, and Baranor, you were there too, so none of you recognize this. You see a small fennec fox-like creature atop a warthog of black fur, holding a red spiked turtle shell shield, and carrying what looks like what you thought was a spear is actually a dagger, a dagger that, if you were to hold it, this thing, it looks kind of like a short sword of curved bone. And he is going to ride towards you with murderous intent.
Oh no.
Whisper over there. It's a fox on a warthog, looking like he's about to charge.
Are you whispering to us?
Yeah, I'm whispering to you, Baronar. It's only one recipient, and that's you.
Okay. Koza, it's your friend. Your friend's down there, the fox guy.
And I fly down there. Because I'm still an owl.
Okay.
Oh god.
Once I get down to the ground, I will pop out of my wild shape.
Okay.
Bridge, how are you doing, buddy?
Oh,
You see this creature snap to your... did you say you turned out of wild shape?
Yes.
Alright, hold on. I put that in the main chat. I want to put it here. There we go. Yeah. He's going to snap to you and kind of look up at you. And mind you, the Onak is still walking. So whenever you guys stop, you do have to spend a little bit of time catching up to it because it is never ending its movement. It doesn't really comprehend what you guys are doing or anything like that. It's sort of doing its own thing. And yeah, this little fennec fox creature, he kind of stops his gallop towards you and slows his speed, lowers his dagger. Ah, well, Koza, right?
That's correct.
Ah, well, you're back sooner than I expected you.
Well, time works a little differently where I'm from. Have you... Do you know your way back to the Bogmother? Drelka?
Do I know my way? Yes, I know my way back. I am the captain of the Forest Watch, after all. You've brought friends with you, I see.
Yes. We've also brought a rather colossal friend that she might know something about.
Aha! That's the mighty Onak. Well, you've been busy.
Yes, we have.
I suppose
It's
you
quite-
want to be escorted back to the village, then?
That would probably be ideal.
Alright, follow me. Come on, lads! And you, as he turns around and speaks, you see a squirrel kind of do like a dangle and a backflip out of a tree right next to you. Lands on its feet. It's about the same size, about 2.5 to 3 feet tall. A large, bushy gray tail kind of twitching behind. He's wearing a very similar leaf motif designed armor as Ridge. And you see this little squirrel creature with what looks like kind of like a leaf designed shield, and he's holding just like a stick or a root cudgel, maybe a foot long, kind of slings it behind his back. He's like, so, who's the Outworlders?
Well, these are my friends, if, you'd like to
do we
introduce
understand
yourselves.
them, or is this a different language entirely?
Nope, they're speaking common.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just standing there, we're looking at these small woodland creatures standing up and talking to us.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Okay.
There's a fox riding a black warthog, and there's a squirrel, and they're dressed similarly, and they're speaking common, and yes, this is happening.
Okay. Like, hi guys. Well met.
Well met indeed. I'm Bulge, and I'm a member of the Forest Watch as well, and I'll be your escort for this evening. Just, how many of them are you? I see 4 here.
And we have another one of our compatriots up on the Onak.
All right, and you mind asking him come down and say hello?
Sure. I'll cast message. Hopefully, he's still in range. Hey, Baronar. These Forest Watch creatures want to meet you.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I within? Am I with?
Difficult to arrange since.
Am I in range to hear?
Yeah, it's 120 feet.
Okay.
I think it's at least that.
Okay. And is the Onak is still moving, right?
Yep.
The Onak?
He hasn't stopped.
Okay. Is there any way we can? I don't know how to stop this thing. Koza did not give me driving directions on this thing.
Yeah, that's going to be a little hard to arrange right now, not due to any subterfuge on our part, but he's all the way up on that thing, and it's just going to be really hard for him to, stop the Onak or to even come down from that height.
No problem. I'll just go up to him, and you see Bulge skitter up the fur of the Onak, and Baranor, about this time, you can see this thing just sort of like hop from lump of fur to lump of fur until he's about 3 feet from you, perches on a rock, and you see him do that kind of squirrel thing where he kind of like licks his hands and rubs it on his nose. He grabs his cudgel and his shield off his back, and he pulls him out, and he goes, "Ha! Gotcha!"
Oh yeah, you totally got me. Is this someone I've seen before, or no?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you recognize him as one of the Forest Watch creatures that you met when you came here with Koza.
Oh, okay. Hey, good to see you again.
Oh, it's you and your wolf. Cool. All right. Just wanted to lay eyes on who was entering the territory.
I'm like, my wolf should have been down by the forces, but yeah. Definitely not up here. Yeah. It's just me. As I said, I don't know how to steer this thing, so just keeping an eye out up here.
Yeah, he kind of like looks down at the ground and just is like, oh yeah. You don't steer an Onak. You just kind of get out of its way.
Yeah. Well, I can't even tell it to stop. I don't think so.
Nah, he'll stop when he's done walking.
All right. I mean, no harm in going down. So I will follow it down if that's the case.
Okay. Yeah. Give me an acrobatics check because it's not easy to get down.
Guidance.
Okay.
Athletics. Athletics or acrobatics?
Acrobatics. It's going to take some fancy footwork and climbing skills to get down this thing. Yeah, easy enough. 25 total. All right. Any flips or flourishes on your way down, or just straight and forward?
I'm gonna do the whole Legolas down the side of the fur. There's no trunk to do it on, but it's like kind of similar.
Of course you are.
Because of course you are, yeah.
Yep.
You Tarzan jungle surf your way down this thing's furry sides, and 3-point landing right next to Luna. She kind of gives you an emotional bit of an applause break in your head, and you join your friends. You can now see the fennec fox-looking creature that you met before, and Bulge will go ahead and do a little flippy flip down the trees next to the Onak steps, and the Onak is going to just kind of keep on moving as it looks like you guys kind of stop for a moment.
Okay. What's the plan, guys?
We're a level of weirdness that go beyond my pay grade right now.
So do maybe you guys know where this thing's youngin is? Youngling?
You see Ridge and Bulge just kind of look at each other and look at the Onak and talk to each other, and there's some chittering and chattering between them. And he's like, well, I don't know where the child is now. Perhaps the villagers would know. I haven't seen it, but I've been patrolling the southern quarter all evening, so maybe we regroup at the village?
Okay. How does one lose a baby that is possibly, I don't know, elephant size?
Well, we weren't exactly imprisoning it or capturing it. It's
Sure.
I mean,
No,
it's fully capable of walking around on its own. We don't imprison our animals here. And he kind of like gives the warthog a nice little pat on the back.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, has anyone seen it recently?
Oh, yes. It was seen in the northwestern region of the territory. That kind of where you were just before he left, not too long ago, and he points to Koza.
Cool. Koza's over here playing Minecraft, so...
I don't know why it says that. No.
Yeah.
My Minecraft launcher is just up. For some reason, it decided to update, and now it just says I'm playing Minecraft for some reason.
I just love being at work and turning on the Discord and showing that I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3. When I am clearly not playing Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't have a
Clearly
hyperfixation. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't have a problem. Anyways, okay. Koza, where was that? Obviously, northeast. You said northeast.
Northwest.
Northwest. I mean, I could point us in the right direction. Using facing north off of where I have seen from the compass, but Koza, you might know the area a little more. I guess it seems random wherever we land in this place.
Kind of. It's a little weird. But I'll take us in that direction.
Was it far from the village?
It's Youngling?
The area that you were at before.
I don't think it was far from the Youngling, or from the village.
Okay. So we'll go to the village, we'll kind of get the lay of the land there and then see where we want to go, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
The journey is slow. It seems the Onak is following you. You're getting much closer to the village. Like I said, it was only about the big tree was only about a quarter mile away, so it only takes you a few more minutes before you're all met with this large English badger looking humanoid with this like wide fan like spear blade, and another creature. This looks like kind of like a Kenku looking roguish fellow who is up in the treetops holding a really large for his size twisted viney looking bow, and he's pointing an arrow at you, and they just kind of like keep their distance but also step in front of you. And you see the badger-looking guy kind of hold his spear out, and he's like, "Halt! Ridge, Bulge, what's going on?" And Ridge is going to walk up on his warthog. "These are those guys that I was telling you about. The hat hobbyists or something like that. And they're here to see Dralka." And you see this badger-like creature just sort of like, he's like, okay, and he's gonna touch this beetle, the small blue beetle hanging from a necklace, and he's just kind of, his eyes are gonna glow briefly, and Maven and Axton right next to you. About 5 seconds later, you see leaves start to kind of form a vertical, an upside down tornado slowly gathering kind of plant material. Vines start to strap around this shape until it stops and drops. And there in front of you is Dralka. And what you all see is this.
Oh my goodness.
They're so cute.
Oh.
Crown collectors, welcome back so soon. And you've brought him home, haven't you, Koza? And she kind of looks up and stares at the top of the Onak, who has, at this moment, stopped moving.
Indeed we have, Drelka. Do you still have its youngling?
Oh, no, but it's not far away. Come, let us reunite this family. After so long for its mother. The youngling, however, as I'm sure you may have guessed, doesn't feel it's been alone quite as long.
That whole time weirdly kind of stuff with the Feywild.
Indeed. The Onak here seems to have fallen through, well, best we can tell is some sort of massive rift in reality. But we'll talk about that later.
Oh, joy.
Let's reunite these two once and for all, shall we?
We shall.
Drelka is going to descend from her hovering, levitating state, and her feet touch the ground. And as they do, those of you closest to her at this moment would be Kravish, Maven, and Axton. You notice the forest floor kind of grows small plant-like vines in her footsteps. And as she kind of traverses the forest floor, far behind her, those footsteps where these leaves start to sprout, you see them start to sprout little white and blue and green flowers. And as she progresses, you kind of keep an eye on that. It looks like those kind of fade away the longer that they lay there.
Behind Drelka?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And it's almost like this effect sprouts and then fades.
Pretty cool.
Okay.
This way, my friends. And she's going to lead you around the base of this massive tree. And after about 5 minutes, and mind you, she's talking to you all, making idle chit-chat, commenting on how she forgot how quickly people from the Prime Plane arrive here, and for them it's been long distances of time, and for them it's been much shorter. For instance, she feels like Baranor and Koza, you guys were just here, literally just here, and that's why she was able to return to you so quickly. And
wasn't it reversed when Koza went to the Feywild by himself?
No. He was here for maybe a day or two.
Oh, okay. And it was a month for us. Okay.
That's right. It takes some getting used to coming to grips with this time dilation concept. But right about the time that you guys kind of start swapping stories with the Forest Watch members, that's when you hear the Onak.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Most of that got lost.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah.
You hear it bellow into the sky around you, and it's not too long, about 5 or 6 seconds later, in the distance you hear this kind of low but much younger sounding calf-like bleat, and you hear this and the Onak starts to... What's that?
Hang on to something.
The Onak starts to step forward and just shatters the trees all around it, but doesn't step too far away from you as this huge, very, very large young Onak. He's probably 40 to 50 feet tall, just barely cresting the tops of the trees that are around here. He kind of bustles through and knocks over bushes and branches, and fortunately none of you are in the way. But you see that this calf has a yellow blonde-like fur around surrounding its body, and atop its back you see 3 small sprig-like trees growing in a small cluster with a little boulder between them.
God, I'm in the wrong thing.
Its hot breath kind of dances across the whole area as it, and it just sort of like you see it actively licking its nose, and its wide 6 eyes glow blue and slowly blink, and they both stand there for a moment, and the adult Onak just lowers its head, and you hear this deep bellowing, just this grumbling growl. And you all can feel this longing satisfaction of being reunited with something you've lost. It's radiating this emotional response and just affecting everybody in the group. At this moment, everybody gets the uncontrollable urge to just hug something.
Come here, baby.
Yeah, I immediately
and starts bawling, like just fucking sobbing. Full on crocodile bawling, sobbing tears.
Yes, Baranor, you hug a tree.
So does Koza. Although
Is
Koza
it the same tree on the opposite sides?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, for the sake of like adorableness, it's the same tree.
Same tree.
The Onak and its youngling just sort of stand there, and they definitely pace in a direction away. You watch the youngling kind of stomp around in a playful dance around kind of a half-mile sort of square, and just trampling trees and stomping things, and you see its mother just sort of very slowly drop to its knees and watch its youngling just sort of play around the area. You guys are about a good mile or two away from the village tree, and you can just hear this thing stomping. You can tell that everyone can hear it miles and miles away. The Onak watches its child prance and play, and you hear this very long, deep sigh just bellow from this creature. And it looks down at you all, and you can see in its eyes this slow blink of respect and gratitude. It doesn't emit any words, just a slow pulse, a thundering moan of gratitude, and it just pierces you all through the heart and fills you with a warmth.
Seriously, Axton. Jesus Christ.
Come on.
You actually want me to cry, like in real life right now? Because that's what thinking about that.
That's how you
scene
get
is
me to
going
cry.
through me.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Well, Drelka kind of steps forward and says, "Well, mother returns to son. All is right with the world. You're starting to make a real name for yourself. Crown collectors, even in the Fey. Come, the Animus Council will want to meet you."
The Animus Council?
Animus Council? Okay.
I think it's time that the rulers of this land know the faces behind the legend.
Legend?
Well, of course.
That's something I could
You
get
brought
into.
me back, didn't you?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. So, follow me. We'll get yourselves cleaned up and perhaps some breakfast in your bellies. When was the last time you ate? Oh, and you see her sort
it's
of
been a while.
sashay over, and she kind of looks at Axton, and she's like, "Oh, you are all so skinny. That simply will not do."
I said, do you want more
Can't tell you when
tamales?
the last time we ate was. I don't know much about time for anything. Could have been 20 minutes ago. Could have been 4 days.
Lead on.
Yeah. Food.
Yes.
I mean, is Axton actually skinny?
I mean,
Or is she just saying that? Like, I wouldn't think so, right?
She's just like your Italian grandmother.
Yeah.
Okay.
You look like you have flat
You
tire.
look skinny. Come, I have food.
I could eat. I could eat.
Yeah.
well, as you arrive to the entrance to this kind of hollow under this tree, you kind of round this corner, and your horses, they don't get necessarily spooked, but they do get a little tense as you start to see several denizens of this community. This tree hollow, the base of this tree, is, like I said, it's about 300 to 400 feet wide, and inside the hollow of this tree trunk, you can see dozens of these bright floating orbs, and the closer you get to them, you start to notice that they are accompanied by some kind of insect wings inside of them. You can't really make out the rest of the body, but you can definitely see something fluttering in the glare of this glowing orb-like structure. They're dotting the inside of this kind of inner tree community, and there are buildings made of straw and bark and leaves and mud and stone. Dozens and dozens of these little hovels that look like they're kind of separated by kind of like a vine-like chain that sort of connects this town with like handrails, because mind you, there are structures built up into the side of this hollow, and there are little kind of rope like dangling ribbon connections that sort of straddle the inside of this thing like curtains or laundry clotheslines in a city. And the main thoroughfare of this community is rather wide. It seems like it's like like blood vessels. You see the pathways kind of converge and grow larger and join other larger pathways between these houses, and you see the citizens of this place vary widely in shape and size. The largest here, you see a couple of huge creatures, ogre in appearance, although they have leaves for ears and kind of like one large green eye in the center of their face. A couple of big horns that sort of sprout from the top of their head. They sort of walk slowly, carrying large crates in their hands made from bark. And but most of the creatures here are small, medium-sized, a couple of large kind of humanoid-like creatures, but everybody here is very weird and different. But there are also those anthropomorphic woodland folk too. You see what looks like a basset hound holding a large halberd made of kind of a waxy mushroom material. He's got it slung over his back, and he's just sort of watching you as you approach. He's wearing kind of a set of armor of wood and leaves, and he's got a couple of spikes jutting from a gauntlet in one of his paws. He just kind of gives Ridge and Drelka kind of a nod, and as you kind of sort of scurry past him. Well, let's get you something to eat, and perhaps provisions for the road ahead. And she's going to direct you to what looks like a community center where there are tables, a couple of spits with rotating meat, a couple of cauldrons with bubbling stews and brews.
Does it smell delicious?
I'm not even going to make you roll for that. It does.
Okay.
It definitely does. You can smell a savory and almost like a vegetable stew smell coming from the bubbling cauldron. the rotating spits of meat is interesting. One of them, there's a few of them, and one of them it almost looks like a large green, like lobster-like creature. Not exactly insect, but you haven't seen any large bodies of water around here, so you're not exactly sure if this is terrestrial or not. There's also a kind of like a huge ham hock with a big bone in it that's being grilled, and you also see another spit that looks like it has several chicken-sized birds in sort of this rotating cage that's just slowly cooking. There's pots and sort of clay bowls filled with greens of all kind, large leafy greens, tiny little rabbit food like greens. There's carrots and potatoes, and it looks like people are just sort of starting their day and perhaps grabbing something before they start their morning routine. And people are kind of being friendly and talking to each other. All of them look at you, but in a very welcome change. You don't catch like side eyes from anybody, where this group of motley crew looking people traveling together. You get the feeling that this is not weird to them, as they are very diverse. There are mushroom people here. There are what look like small gnomes but have much more elven features, and blue-skinned, bulldog-looking orc creatures that are sort of like hobbling along and collecting ale in horns and filling their plate with eggs and such.
Fey eggs.
Fey eggs.
Is there green eggs and ham?
There is green eggs and ham.
Hey.
It's more of a kind of a cyan color, but yeah.
All right, so we get our grub on.
Yes.
All right.
I don't know where to start. Koza, what do you recommend?
Is Baranor a vegetarian or a meat eater?
He eats meat, fine. He hunts.
Okay. All right.
He does eat what he hunts, so
That's right.
Well,
so I'm going to say
Baranor.
that. I'm going to say Baranor and Maven and Koza. Everything here looks pretty appetizing to you, and the smells that you guys experience is amplified. It's almost like you've been standing over the pot of stew as it cooks, just able to savor it the whole time. You can smell that from where you sit. The prime plane people, that would be Axton and Yuno and Krabish. This food looks weird. Definitely different than anything you've ever eaten. There are large leaves, like large green and pink spade-like leaves in this huge salad that's kind of being passed around. Never had pink roughage before. But as you kind of taste things, everything here feels like it's been like super injected with flavor. It's not like anything bursts with juices and you spray juices all over the place, but it feels like it should. Almost to the point of being a little impalatable. It's almost like somebody put way too much Cajun seasoning on the steak when you wanted just a little bit. So it's a little much, but it's very, very, very good. It's all well made. It's all tasty. And it's about the moment that Koza, you kind of sit down, and mind you, you're all of your clothes are all pretty ragged and dirty. You were in a pretty brutal battle with the blight creatures back in the Prime Plane. And Koza, as you sit down next to what looks like this little, he's kind of like a hedgehog-like creature, and he's got kind of real big beefy arms, and his wrists and hands are wrapped in this leather. He looks like he's wearing kind of an apron, and he's real squat. He's got kind of tiny little beady eyes, kind of a long funnel-like snout, and he's just kind of eating what looks like a plate of like these big, fat, juicy grubs. And he kind of wipes his hand on his black apron, and he just kind of looks at you and goes, "Well, you've been ridden hard and put away wet, haven't you, big fella?"
I don't know what any of those words mean, but yes.
I'm saying I can see daylight through your cloak. And he's gonna kind of like stick it, raise up part of your cloak, and he's right. You've got rips and tears all throughout your clothing and your armor. It's just frayed on the edges. He's like,
Suppose I'm due for an upgrade.
"Well, what brings you here? I can tell you're not from around here, are you?"
Not traditionally, no.
Traditional. Well, what brings you and your band through here then?
Well, we came to return the Onak to its youngling, and at that moment,
as you say that, about 6 people around you, you can hear that very stereotypical clinking of silverware on plates, and they all just kind of snap their gaze real slowly at all of you, and you hear them all say, "You've brought back the Onak?"
Is that a bad thing?
Well, I didn't do it alone.
Were we not supposed to?
You see them all kind of wide-eyed stare at each other, and he's like, "You're joking."
Is there a piece that I'm missing?
No, I mean, I'm just saying that you managed to bring back the legendary Onak from its exile?
How long
Care
was
to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean,
Can we back up a little bit? Let's go back to that word exile. Can we elaborate on that word a little bit more?
Oh, yes. Well, the Onak is, well, it's kind of like this continent's overseer or protector, but in a very kind of innocent way. And one day, it went out grazing after giving birth to its son, and it just disappeared. It went way far to the south, kind of outside where it normally would, and we figured it was going out to grab some food for it and its young one, and it just never returned. No one's seen it since, and that was 7 years ago.
Oh, 7 years.
That works a little bit better. I was afraid that exile meant like it was a menace to society.
Baronar tries to do Feywild math in his head. How long is 7 years Feywild time to regular time?
Well, a day equals a month. So you do the math.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay.
I'll do the math.
Okay.
How long was he in exile for?
You know,
Yeah, we're going to say about 7 years. Fey time.
Alright, so...
213 years.
Damn!
So this thing has been wandering around Valandiir for 200 plus years, and
Yeah.
nobody's seen it but us.
You didn't see it.
The mom?
Yeah, you didn't see it.
Well, I mean, we eventually saw it, is what I mean.
Yeah.
We found it, is what. Yeah.
Well, you could say it's probably very good at looking like a hill if it wants to.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, the little hedgehog fella, the little hedgehog fella pipes up and he says, "The Onak is a symbol of good fortune and blessings on this land. To have it back after so long, well, hell, you deserve a reward. And he's like, tell you what, why don't you stop by my shop? I'm a smith, you see, a woodsmith. I could fit you up with something a little more hardier than these rags. And he lifts up your cloak again, and he's like pulling bits of it off, because I mean, you've had the same clothes on for a while now. You know, haven't had them laundered or washed or repaired. They're kind of frayed and falling apart. Yeah, I could put something together to give you a little more cohesion in what you're wearing, maybe some protection while we're at it. And he says, you see Bugler over there? And he points to that beagle, or the basset hound that you guys walked past on the way in. He's like, yeah, I outfit him and pretty much everybody on the forest watch. And you look over at him, and you can see he's wearing this kind of wooden chest plate that's draped over his front. And he's got these wooden gauntlets of kind of like, almost looks like a wooden shell material.
What kind of protection can this provide? Is this just standard wood armor, or is there something?
I mean, it's real good at keeping monsters off your back. If you're into that kind of thing, it's just a real shiny, nice piece of outerwear, and looks like you could probably use it. You can see that there's like scratch marks in your cloak and like rips and tears and stuff like that. I mean, you kind of carry it well because you have it like a druid kind of appearance anyway, so like hanging frayed cloth off your back is not really that crazy.
Alrighty. Looks sturdy enough. How much for it?
How much do I want? How much do I... You brought back the Onak. It's on the house.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, come and see me over at the... and he kind of points at this really large blue glowing bulb that's sort of suspended from the top of the ceiling in this massive chamber. And he's like, meet me over by the blue orb after breakfast, and we'll see what we can't fit you with.
Sounds like a deal. I go to shake his hand. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and his hand you just swallow his tiny little hedgehog hand with your giant mitt.
Just make sure we don't dawdle too much.
No lollygagging?
No lollygagging.
Well, after you guys finish your meal and you see the little guy kind of get up and give you all a nod and toddle away, that's when Drelka approaches your table and just sort of leans in. The council will see you now.
Oh.
Is there any protocol we should be aware of before we go in?
Yes. When you approach the council, you must not look any of them in the eye, or they will eat you. I'm just kidding.
I'm just shitting with you.
I've missed your sense of humor.
And I've missed your dashing good looks, Baranor. And she gives you now, mind you, she doesn't look like a haggard old hag, but she does kind of have a matronly appearance to her, but she gives you kind of a flirty little wink on her way out.
You flatter me.
Okay, if there is nothing else, she leads you out of the room through a series of hallways where the bark of this under tree area has been bent inward to form kind of like what look like grasping claws of bark, and as they almost interlock, they form a doorway. So all the way at the back, it leads down into a tunnel that's lined with sort of blue and green and pink glowing orbs of light that sort of striate across the ceiling of this tunnelous chamber. All along the sides of the walls of these tunnels are carved murals, carved in the wood and rubbed with, colored powders of sorts. and creating these images and motifs. You're walking past them so quickly that it's difficult to discern what they are. You see what looks like harvesting humanoids that are harvesting grain or crops of some kind, and then you see a great gathering of stock beasts. You also see a couple battles that look like are between certain peoples. You're not exactly sure who. All of this that feed into a spiraling pattern of kind of tribal carvings that spin in around the walls and meet in the middle where the tunnel ends, and you see a glowing light. This is the entrance to the council chambers. I warn you, it's, well, chambers themselves are not here. They exist in a space much like the Feywild from the Prime Realm. It's what you would call a demi-plane of sorts. Being the fact that the council members are creatures of such immeasurable power, they must exist in this place or lose their powers entirely. Go on. They are expecting you. I will be right behind you.
Very well.
All right, well, we straighten our cloaks and
Let's not keep them waiting.
and walk on in.
You pass through the barrier, and it feels little more than a curtain of fizzling energy that just sort of races across your skin. You find yourselves in a brightly lit chamber, almost like a even more Fey version, like it's almost like Fey squared, where the trees, they shoot straight up and curl into strange shapes. There are almost geometric design patterns in the canopies above you, all lined and ringed with golden-like light and trim. Your eyes adjust, and you see standing before you, probably maybe 40, 50 feet away, sitting amongst these strange trees, are 5 entities. One looks like a immense 20, 30 foot tall wolf. Next to it, you see a strange celestial and just a magical looking lion. Standing next to the lion is what looks like a kind of an anthropomorphic crouching cheetah. Next to the other side of the wolf is a small rabbit. And finally, standing next to the rabbit is a frog.
Okay.
There is a magic pulsing presence in this room that penetrates each of you. Just to the very core of your, every fiber of your being, you can feel rippling with a magical separation and saturation. Almost like your cells are vibrating slowly. You hear a voice in your head. You're not exactly sure who of these creatures are addressing you, but all you hear is, "We receive you. Please, come in."
Okay.
Okay.
Drelka enters the chamber behind you. "Venerable Council, these are they, the crown collectors of the Prime Realm. They are the ones who delivered me from my prison, brought me home, as well as brought the Onak home." You see all 5 of these creatures focus their attention on you. "You have returned, Onakasai."
We have.
Well done, all of you. Do we know how the Onak disappeared? And you hear another voice within the room. "The Watch has found a rift. The rift leads two places. The rift must be closed. Would these creatures offer assistance? And you see Drelka she has a look of, she kind of like straightens up and it kind of like looks at you a little nervously. I would not presume to speak for them. Then let them speak for themselves. And the cheetah creature kind of leans in and says, yes, let them speak on this matter. It would behoove us for them to intervene. Why? Yes, why, brother? The rift. It goes to the prime plane and many other places. Here, we can shut one side of it. There, they must shut it themselves. It is a fickle rift.
Okay, so my understanding is you want us to go to the prime plane and close that side.
We must close it here, but it must be you who closes it. You are of the prime plane. It would respond better if it were you taking that energy away.
Okay. One concern, though. I'm sure you're well aware that time moves differently. I would just really hate to, go back to our own plane and 50 years have gone by.
You see all of them start to chuckle and laugh a little. And it seems like as one of them speaks or thinks, because you're not seeing anybody move their mouths.
Right.
It's almost like they all sort of absorb the same thoughts and perspectives. Unless it takes you a considerable amount of time, you should be fine. Perhaps some time passes. Are you in a hurry anywhere?
No, not particularly.
I've already been through one time jump. Another one won't really bother me.
we paid our staff up to a good amount of time, right?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. We're fine.
Then, have the watch take them to the rift. It seems that the rift on the inside of the prime plane continues to another plane and another. You're right, time does change differently, but looks like the next portal has already begun to heal itself. Here it works slower, must be assisted.
Okay. Do you want us to go right now? Can we get some provisions first?
Of course. Please enjoy the bounty that we provide here. We pride ourselves on our provisions.
Ooh, thanks.
And you see the five creatures just kind of looks like they sort of turn to each other a little bit and kind of giving slow nods and almost like they're communicating with each other now.
I think that's our cue to leave.
Sounds good. Okay, well, we'll be taking our leave of you.
Yep.
Drelka follows you out. She kind of points the way out, kind of like an after you kind of gesture. And as you leave the room, that green glowing portal disappears, shuts and disappears, and it's just a solid stone wall. Well, that went better than perhaps expected. They don't usually take so kindly to outsiders. You should consider yourselves privileged.
It would appear that they have need of us.
Yes, that definitely would lend to their interest of you and their friendliness. So I will inform Ridge to gather the watch, and whenever you are all ready, just let us know, and they'll escort you to wherever this rift is. Frankly, I'm not even sure what it is they're talking about, as I haven't seen it before.
Kind of about that. Is this something you can close? Koza, do you have the power to close it? Like,
maybe we'll find out when we get there, but I don't know for now.
Yeah,
I'm not
how do we?
familiar with this type of rift. I mean, we can see it and go from there.
How do we close a portal that, good? This is beyond my magical understanding, obviously, but this is
he's
possible.
just going to wait until we finally get there, and he's going to be like, "Yeah, I have no clue."
Hey, and let me just make sure. So, where does the portal originate? Is it here in the Feywild, or is it originating from the material plane and goes where's the hub?
Who are you asking?
The group.
No, I know about as much as you do right now.
I know, but it sounded like a little bit it sounded like, hey, the hub might be here in the Feywild, or it may be in the material plane. He said that it closed multiple places, but if we close the material plane one, that just closes one portal, right? Or is it originating from the material? I don't know.
He said that they were capable of closing the one that leads here. That you need to close the one that leads there.
Okay. But there's other. Well, he's saying that it goes other places just besides the other planes, or beside those two planes.
That is what he said.
Okay. But I'm saying, where does it originate?
I don't think there's any way for us to tell. It's just a doorway that I know of. I think they need help closing it. That's all I know.
Closing, yeah. A door, the greatest enemy in D&D.
For real.
Okay. Let's see what provisions we can get, and let's do this thing. Are we doing this first, or are we tracking down the young? No, we already met the young. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Forgotten.
Yep. So, are we going to rest the night? I know we're worried about time.
What time of day is it currently? Is it midday, late afternoon?
It's not that. I mean, you guys kind of just came here. It took you a couple hours to travel through the woods. It's definitely early midday, really, like noon.
Okay. I know some of us aren't at full health, so. But I don't know. Doing a short rest as we gear up. I don't even know what kind of gear can we get here.
A lot of it seems base.
Koza's getting his armor, right? Or something.
As Koza kind of, as you say that, Koza's gaze kind of on that blue orb where he was told to meet the hedgehog fella. And as you kind of ponder that, we're going to take a break.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! Much rejoicing.
So that's 5:13 Eastern Standard Time. We'll call it 5:15. So we'll meet back here in 15 minutes. 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll have you guys kind of suit up. All right.
All right.
Alrighty. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, you all stand in the middle of this giant chamber, this village, this woodland village, is nestled in the bulbous hollow of this huge tree trunk. And yeah, Koza, you've got somewhere to be. What would you all like to do?
Well, let's check the place out for about an hour or two.
All right.
Yeah, Cozy, this is your neck of the woods, for lack of a better term. You want to show us around the place?
Sure. I mean, I haven't been in the Feywild too many times, so I'm not super familiar, but...
That's still more than us.
Yeah.
Well, you know where this woodsmith is, and you know where the gathering hall is. It's where you kind of, when you escorted the bog mother at the time, when you escorted Drelka back to her village. This is, where you brought her, and where she thanked you, and also where you received orders to help the Forest Watch when you rooted out that corrupting nest of insects. So you, like you said, don't really know a lot about this place. You just know a couple places.
Well, I'll go to that blue orb that the smith told me to meet him at.
All right. Are you taking anybody with you, or are you guys all staying together? Or do you guys want to explore on your own? What do you want to do?
Anybody who wants to join me is welcome.
I'm in.
I'm down to go. I figured Axel would be interested in seeing a woodsmith.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look.
I mean, it's not metal, but it's still smithing.
All right. It doesn't take you long. It's probably a 5 to 10 minute jaunt in and out of the spiderweb-like pathways between these structures in this village before you find a low-hanging, almost like a fruit, like a big eggplant fruiting like object, this blue kind of hanging orb wrapped in vines. It's got a kind of a faint glow that pulses within it. You notice as you kind of glance around and really look around in here, there's like 4 or 5 of these things, but they're different colors. One is red, one's green, and they don't really offer too much light. And the closer you get to it, you realize that it doesn't look like a berry. It almost looks like a drop of some kind, for lack of a better word, like a large, probably the size of a bus, kind of hanging vertically. It's kind of a teardrop shape, and whatever this stuff is, it's kind of collected into this huge bulbous kind of resin berry, and solidified into some kind of crystallized, goop of some kind, and it pulses ever so slightly with light and energy right above what looks like looks like an upside down wood bucket, only really, really big. And there's a door carved into it, and you can hear the sounds of like wood mallets hitting other pieces of wood. And as you step under the rather small front entryway, you see your little hedgehog friend. He's about 4 foot tall, about the size of a dwarf. He's got, kind of a long shock of brown and blonde and gray spines that sort of stick out from his backside, the back of his head, and you see him kind of tapping what looks like a metal chisel, and there are metal implements in this little shop. You see a wood fire stove in the back where it looks like he's pulling hot pokers out of, but it doesn't look like they're using any of these metal implements directly. They're not making anything out of metal. They're just using them to form and shape and chisel wood. In the corner, you see it looks like he's got a helper that looks like a kind of like a fat beaver with these large, pronounced incisor rodent-like teeth, and he's not sawing a long length of wood in half. He's biting it, and it looks like he's trying to get it a specific length, and he's kind of chewing away little nuggets of wood out of it. And that's when the hedgehog kind of peeks his head up. Oh, it's you! You're back! How was your breakfast?
It was certainly unusual, but not unwelcome.
That's a real weird thing to say, mister. So,
I've never
you here to
had
get
one
fitted
like
up?
it.
Come again?
I said, are you here to get fitted up?
That's what you told me to. That's where I told you to meet it.
Awesome. Well, let's see here. What exactly kind of armor are you looking for? Are you looking for something kind of light, like maybe some barding, or are you looking to just kind of cover yourself head to toe?
Well, I would like something a little heavier duty, but not something that's gonna make a lot of noise, if that helps.
Well, you're in luck because I specialize in stealthy attire.
Maybe something for the important bits, and then maybe some shoulder armor, maybe some gauntlets.
All right.
I don't need a full suit, but something.
I get you somewhere in the neighborhood of like a plate or a splint mail, something maybe halfway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let me take some measurements. And you see the beaver fella kind of put down the piece of wood that he was chewing on, and he pulls out this kind of what looks like a long strand of vine material, and it's got little hash marks sort of chiseled and colored and carved along it. And both of them kind of race around your body and pulling this little string up your leg and kind of taking note of how long that is. And after about 20-30 minutes of kind of turning you around, climbing up your back and perching up on your shoulder and measuring around your neck, and again, the whole while just kind of hitting all your tickle zones and lifting your foot. You're kind of a little wobbly on one foot, and taking a measurement of your inseam and all that stuff. About half hour later of doing all that, he brings in the room something like a box, and he's got what looks like a couple of plates of wood in there, and he unfurls this canvas cover on the top of this lid, sets it down, and he pulls out a pair of what almost looks like wooden beetle shell skin material, something like that, and he wraps a piece of twine from the inside, grabs a loop and ties it to this large kind of fingerless leather glove, and fashions a pair of gauntlets out of it and sets those down. And he just kind of continues this work in this fashion. He brings this huge wooden board that he sort of like takes this bottle of oil and kind of rubs it into the wood, and you can see the wood starting to react and becoming a little softer as he kind of bends it into place and pulls it with a rope and ties it, and he says, all right. And him and his little helper just sort of double team this breastplate to kind of pull it and bend it into shape. And they apply a different kind of oil. You can all see it kind of sparkle briefly, and it almost seems like that sets it in and keeps those curves to the wood. He says, all right, let's get it on you and see if we need to trim anything or adjust anything here. And I just gotta say that the smell of the treatment, the oils and the chemicals, if that's what they are, of this armor is intoxicating. It's like almost like a sandalwood with sort of a lavender undertone, kind of a lemon crisp on the in the after smell, and it's just the whole shop, this wood, earthy kind of citrusy smell to it that is absolutely pleasing to the senses. And he slides the gauntlet onto your hand, and it's as if it was made for your hand. It fits perfectly. And the leather itself is perforated with little holes, so it's almost like it can breathe. It doesn't feel like it's going to like mat down your fuzzy furbolg skin, and it'll allow you to kind of have some circulation. And he slips these greaves onto your feet, which kind of cover up your shin and go up your knee a little bit. He attaches a whole new skirt to the bottom of it that kind of dangles to the bottom of your kneecaps. Straps this chest piece into place and kind of shows you and shows Axton as well, because Axton he's kind of watching all of this and showing Axton how to buckle it and unbuckle it in case, Cozy, you need some help getting it on and off, which it looks like you're probably gonna. And finally, he finishes with this pair of large shoulder pads or shoulder guards that sort of strap onto the top of your chest, as well as the canvas under garment. I don't know if they call that a gambeson underneath it, and finishes all of that with this long fur cloak that kind of topples over your shoulders and down to the back of your legs. And what you all see is this handsome devil.
Hey!
Nice.
Well,
That's
take
cool.
a nice deep breath. Kind of move your arms back and forth. How does that feel, Mr. Koza?
Well, it's heavier and a little tighter than I'm, used to my clothing being, but I feel, almost stronger.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, stronger is the word, if you'll permit me. And he takes what looks like a large steel hammer, and he's just going to hit you right in the damn chest with it.
Yeah, whoa.
Let's see. If you apply the AC of half plate, what do you get?
Hang on. Let me look that up. I think it's like 11 plus your dex modifier.
For half plate?
I don't think so. I think it's more than that.
Half plate is heavy, isn't it?
Half
so it doesn't
plate.
get it. Where's Axton?
Half plate. It's 15 plus your dex mod.
Oh, it is. Okay,
damn.
it's medium.
Plus dex.
Max of 2, I think, though.
Yeah, I think it's max of 2.
So I now have an AC of 15.
Okay. What was it?
Your
It
dex
was
is
12.
0? You have 0 dex?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Like I said, Koza doesn't have great stats.
Yeah. Hey.
But that's where his spells come in.
We love Koza.
Hey, Koza, is your bark worse than your bite now?
Oh.
Get out! Get out! Can't with you. Cannot.
So Hedgie is going to kind of dance around you and pull on straps here and adjust things there until it fits like a glove. It hugs you in all the right places, and he is going to strike you for a 13 with this hammer.
Nope. Finally, a hit that doesn't land on Koza.
Yep, his hammer just kind of goes ting, and you all hear this audible ringing sound. Like, it doesn't sound like hitting bark or wood. It definitely had a metallic ring to it. And he says, "Yep, I make the best wooden armor in these parts."
I don't know. I wouldn't mind taking a crack at it.
Oh, shit.
I reach out for the hammer.
He's like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?"
I'll take a swing.
Okay. Oh. Let's see here. Smithing hammer. What would the stats on that be?
I would say just like a light hammer.
Light hammer, yeah.
I'll just roll a d20 and we'll find out from there.
Well, you can add your strength because you're proficient.
13 Plus my proficiency bonus.
Yep.
17 total.
Ooh, yeah, that hits.
All right, that's a 1d4.
9 damage.
Okay. You have...
Knocked the wind right out of you.
Yeah.
We
You caught
take
me
that
right...
hammer away from you now. Okay, good job. Okay.
Koza, like, folds over and just falls on the floor.
Yeah, you all hear.
Fuck!
Well, he's not dead, so it definitely did something.
Well, as you finally slowly climb to your feet, Koza, you look down at where Axton struck you with the axe, and you see that there is no dent, no ding, no scratch, no splinter, nothing, no blemish whatsoever.
Oh. Well, that's certainly an improvement.
Damn right, now give me my hammer back, you freaking lunatic. He kind of yanks it out of your hand, and he goes, well, Mr. Koza, you look pretty damn good, if I may say so myself. You make sure you tell everybody that that Hedgie helped you out here.
I certainly will. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go sit down for a little bit.
Alright. Okay. You sit down and catch your breath and pee a little bit. Pee a little blood. What would the rest of you like to do?
I don't know. I'm just kind of looking around the shop.
Just browsing
all
the
sites,
stalls,
yeah.
just kind of seeing what they have.
Yeah.
Just people watching for like an hour or two.
Okay, well, Baranor and Kervish, go ahead and give me a perception check. Axton, I will say that he doesn't have any weapons for sale. Aside from, he does make bows. They look like pretty standard long bows and short bows. They're made of interesting materials, green woods. You guys all happen to see a Kenku member of the Forest Watch wielding one of these kind of twisty green wooded bows. Lots of tools that are made. Some of those are made of metal. But a lot of this stuff, it's a wood shop. A lot of these tools are made out of wood themselves, like mallets and things like that. And it's not something that you're unfamiliar with. You've seen woodworking tools before. But, the pieces of armor that he's made out of wood look pretty impressive. It looks like he's got a couple of acorn-shaped helmets. And, you see a lot of kind of, scale mail that's made out of like leaf material. Not exactly sure if that's decorative or functional, but an interesting kind of spread of a different nature, but you're somewhat familiar with their method of being made.
Cool, I'll just take it all in. I don't think there's anything I need from here. Like, I just paid like a few thousand gold to get my armor repaired and enchanted, so... How about javelins? Do you guys have anything special for that? And I show them the javelins that I have.
Well, I don't really make weapons, unfortunately. I make a lot of tools. We've got kind of fishing spears, if you're looking for that. We kind of fish our creeks and streams, and he shows you. It just looks like it's so small to you. It's like holding a number 2 pencil for you. They're very small. They got little metal tips. And that's kind of it. It's a throwing implement, but it's only going to be a 1d4.
Yeah, that's not too great for me. Thank you. Thank you for showing me all of this woodworking stuff for making your armor or woodsmithing. I can probably use some of this knowledge towards my metalsmithing or my normal smithing.
Ah, yes. Smithing metal is... Well, the temperatures are different, and the effort is a little... You have to use a little different kind of effort to bond wood as you do metal, but there's a lot of similarities, sure.
If I had more
Baranor
time, if I had more time, I would definitely like to study, but I don't think I have that type of time.
Well, maybe next time. All right, Baranor and Kravish, both of you had pretty decent perception. Baranor, you're more kind of infatuated with the aesthetic of this place. You're not exactly like a elfy kind of half-elf. You're more of like a backpacking through the forest and just kind of keeping to yourself and being very quiet and stealthy. But the nature aspect of this place, where every piece of natural material is utilized to its full efficiency, is actually quite impressive. You know, you kind of look around and see, you know. Hold on, I'm going to say bye, Kenny. Bye, Ken. You kind of are looking around, and you feel like everything is made of something that grows. Like the lampposts look like tall, twisted, like almost lily cup flowers with these glowing little flies that sort of illuminate the inside of the flower petals to form this kind of makeshift street lamp. And like the walkways themselves are kind of aggregated large wide blades of grass that sort of twist and turn along the alleyways that you walk on. There are little tiny processions of beetles that sort of cross the street like Canadian geese would block the road, and people have to stop and wait for these pain in the ass things to move through. You can hear people grumbling about it. There's a lot of similarities that you see between the cities that you're used to, but there's this just air of natural beauty that just kind of captivates you to the point where people like you and Koza and those of you who aren't real, tolerant of the cities, you feel a little more at ease here.
Wow. It's amazing.
You can all hear as you're kind of, the business is concluding in the woodsmith, and you're kind of like wandering through town. You all hear this strange kind of woodwind-like instrument, like a multi-layered flute of some kind being played in the distance. And Kravish, you're instantly drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you kind of wind through the crowds that are walking along to where you see a street performer. He's on the ground. He's sort of at a on the corner of a building at the crossroads of two major thoroughfares, and he kind of has a spider-like appearance. He's got long, spindly limbs. You're not exactly sure how many arms and legs he has because he's kind of sitting on a stool, and he's all kind of curled up. He's got a very strange face. It's insectoid, but it also has a pair of eyes that are crested by a long pair of kind of tucked-in fangs. And he has like a humanoid mouth almost, but you can see the bottom of his lips, or the bottom of his chin, looks like it splits in a couple of places every now and then when he's trying to kind of grit through the song that he's performing. And but he looks rather civilized. He's wearing kind of like a leaf motif and wooden draped clothing on his back. Each of his wrists has like kind of a shiny metallic and multicolored berry bracelet. Other wrists have like leather on them. So it looks like there's some domestication to him. He's got large green eyes that have sort of a hazy pupil, kind of like if you were to look at a mantis's face, how like it almost looks like there's a dot in the middle of its eyes, and it's real kind of fuzzy and hazy. And he's currently playing a very large, elaborate, kind of horseshoe-like instrument. And he's like tapping on the top with one or two of his hands, and you see this bladder that's attached to the side of it, that's under one of his arms, start to fill up as he kind of pats the top, creating this weird suction. And as he's doing so, he's playing the other side where all these holes are forcing air through it, and he's just playing this sweet little morning afternoon melody, and it's just a low, almost like a Japanese flute, but there's like 6 of them. That's how complicated this instrument is. And he just kind of watches you all approach and moves his gaze further on down the road. It doesn't seem like he's particularly paying that close attention to you all. And he doesn't seem to even have like a little bucket or anything with coins. He's just sitting there playing.
Okay. I'll kind of sidle up a little bit, pull out my mandolin, and kind of motion to offer to join in.
He just kind of gives you this, and as he sees you, you notice that he's got these dangling kind of appendages on his chin that look kind of like dreadlocks, but they're made of like beaded feathers and things, and they also kind of adorn the back of his kind of humanoid insectoid head. And he just kind of looks at you and gives you kind of a long once over and stops his song briefly. Notices you pull out your mandolin, and he he's not that creepy looking, Steph.
It does not matter for her. It does not matter.
Imagine kind of a Jack Skellington like creature, only with more than 4 limbs.
Nope.
And sitting on a stool and just kind of smiling up at you.
Multiple
thank
limbs
you.
is what bothers her the most.
If it has more than 4 legs, I'm out immediately.
But not a centaur.
No, not a centaur.
That's 4 legs with 2 arms. That's different.
That's different.
Are we gonna argue this point? I don't want to.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
You start to strum your mandolin, and he immediately picks up on your rhythm and starts to accompany it and copy it. And the sound of a multi-tiered, really complex flute-like instrument pairing with your mandolin just creates this sweet moment, and all this. It takes maybe 5 or 6 minutes of playing, and you all just kind of the song slowly ends. And you all look around, and you guys are surrounded, 6 people deep on all sides of this street corner. People are just stopped and watching you, and you just kind of hear a little bit of a sniffling coming from the crowd from a few places, and there's a couple of these, there's what looks like a mole man kind of wiping a tear from his eye and holding a very, very small mole-like child in his hands. And it's not too long before, you guys are all you see a couple of flowers sort of pelt you from the crowd and land on the ground around you. And you see the little flute playing guy just kind of grab one of the flowers and puts it to where you'd figure his nose would be and gives it a little bit of a sniff. It just kind of looks up at Kravish and just gives him a very deep bow, and he just kind of goes back to playing what he was playing before.
I return the bow. I love that flute. What a haunting tune it can produce. Simply divine. Where did you get it?
Oh, he just kind of turns his head and just kind of, and he just kind of clicks and chitters at you, and he doesn't really say anything that you recognize.
Yeah, crud.
And he just kind of looks at it and looks at you and just kind of holds it out and twists it around, and then goes back to playing and gives you another short little nod. And
okay. Well, bummer. I don't want to burn another spell slot to talk to him. Oh well, I'll just accept the moment for what it was and move on.
It's not too long before Ridge and his cohorts kind of see you in the crowd. It's like, there you are. We think we might know the direction of this rift. You guys got anything else you need to do here in the village?
Take a short rest.
I think we're good.
All right.
Did we take a short rest, guys?
Yeah, we can count that little interaction with the guy. We can count that as a short rest if you guys want.
Okay. Just so that we're
Fine
full
with me.
health for whatever comes.
Something wicked this way comes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, anybody who wants, go ahead and roll your hit dice if you wish. I'll let Kravish get away with a free short rest, even though he was doing stuff.
It was effortless for him. Come on now.
It's true. He could do it in his sleep. Speaking of sleep, no, I'm just kidding.
That explains that noise I keep hearing every night. That haunting music. It's coming from behind the bookcase.
All right. Ridge and Bulge, and he's gonna be accompanied by what looks like a anthropomorphic shrew, kind of an underground digging rodent. He's got very, very tiny little beady eyes and kind of a long conical snout, and he's just kind of set up in what looks like traveler's robes with a couple of leafy shoulder pads. He's carrying a couple of kukris in his hand, and he sheaths them and is, well, we got a journey ahead of us. It's going to take a little time to get there, but we're pretty sure, based on what the Onak told us, where it is. Not exactly sure how long this rift has been there, but like you said, time works differently here than it does other places. It could be that whatever opened this happened a long time ago, or just last week. Not exactly sure how to gauge it, but we think we know where it's at.
All right, then. Well, let's lead on.
All right. With your short rest applied,
Yes.
He's going to mount his warthog, and Bulge is going to run along the surface. Let's see, the shrew little guy, he is going to dig tunnels, and that's how he's going to travel. You see him as you guys kind of hike out of the village and through the forest again. You can see him kind of pop up out of the surface with like a mound of dirt on his head, and then dive below again and pop up again. He kind of like gets his way around in this fashion, keeps up with you guys and the horses. For Baranor and anybody else who's paying attention to a direction, you get the feeling that you guys are going due south. I'm going to roll for them, but I'm going to need you guys to roll for you. Who would like to stay in the back and who would like to be in the front? I'm going to have Yuno post up in the middle.
I'll be in the rear.
Okay, let's get a perception check or a survival check from anybody in the front, and one from Kravish, please. That's pretty good for Bulge. And not too terrible for Ridge.
I'll go front, I guess. Guidance.
Okay.
Guidance.
You got this, Baranor.
Damn. 2 low rolls. Oh, 15 total.
It's not terrible.
I rolled a 3. It's fine.
I'm going to be honest, Baranor, you're just so distracted with this place. You kind of want to live here. I'll say that. Yeah, I'll that. You notice that your joints, through the rigors of hiking, not that you're out of shape per se, but kind of walking through the woods, uneven ground, your ankles take a beating, you're hunched over a lot of the time. You don't feel the fatigue here that you felt on the Prime Plane, and it's just kind of a welcoming, warm blanket like feeling being in this fantastical place. The trees look strange. There was a tree that you guys encountered when you were tracking the Onak that was kind of it looked like it was dancing with little blue flames, and you see one of those trees as you travel south. It's a grand white birch-like tree with absolutely no leaves except for these just violent-looking blue flames that climb up the branches and reach up towards the sky. This is a much more pronounced version of that tree. There's no heat that comes off of it, and you even see birds sort of flutter around and land on the branches amidst these blue flames that don't seem to consume them. The birds themselves are very strange. Two sets of wings, a long neck ending in sort of a pterodactyl type beak. Other birds are small, almost fairy-like, where they have, kind of human hands at the ends of the elbows of their wings that can grasp branches and things while having a large beetle-like face. And, you guys have been here now for the better part of 6-7 hours, and you notice that it's still like sunset. Like, not even the clouds are moving that much. It doesn't feel like really any time has passed, although you guys are starting to feel, fatigue. The fatigue of hiking and just being awake. You definitely know that time has passed for you, but there's no way to tell what time of day it is. By looking at the stars or the sky. And you can see some stars. You look in the other direction opposite the sun where the sky is getting blue, dark blue. You can see stars peeking out, but for the most part, it still looks like sunset, just like it did when you got here in the morning.
Guys, our next real estate opportunity needs to be here in the Feywild.
Let's see here. I need, so I believe everybody is on a horse. Nobody lost a horse, just the cart.
That is correct.
Yes.
So, okay, I'm going to need a animal handling check from everybody in the group, and I will roll for Kenny.
Guidance
Stuff. That's pretty good.
God damn.
17.
All right, pretty good. Pretty good.
22.
Okay, pretty good.
16 total. For some reason, now I can't roll above 10.
All right. Dirty 20 for Maven. Baranor, you got a 13? Is that a 13?
It's 12 plus 4, so 16.
Okay, that's good. That's not bad. This is not a difficult DC.
Okay.
So I'll say that, really, Baranor, your horse you're able to keep it under control, no problem, but you can feel that its bones and joints are shaking a little bit, and it definitely has visible kind of stress as you guys are walking through a section of forest, and mind you, the Forest Watch, it looks like they're kind of going wide and avoiding this. It doesn't look like they're avoiding it. It almost looks like they're doing like a sweep, like a patrol, but they're avoiding this particularly viney stretch of the forest. You all notice this and kind of react accordingly, but Baranor, your horse's foot kind of gets caught by this vine on the ground that is actively animated and trying to wrap around its hoof, but fortunately, you're able to kind of redirect it, reassure it, and calm it down as you make your way past this patch of forest. You guys really don't see too much. That's an understatement. You see a lot. There's a lot going on around you. There are huge carnivorous plants that look like they lean in your direction from about 30 feet away, but since they're rooted, they can't really do anything. You kind of watch the soldiers kind of skipping in and out of between trees and kind of making sure that you're not going where they're not going. And But yeah, nothing really happens out of the ordinary given the circumstances. You're not attacked by any creatures. You do see a number of strange woodland creatures, including, and I'll just say, Axton, you're particularly interested in this. You see a pack of displacer beasts in the distance.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's about 6 of them. They're big, too. They're big boys. It's either they don't seem to notice you or they don't care to engage with you. There are a lot of you. And, being that they're pack animals and relatively intelligent, they keep their distance. You can see them kind of moving between trees, probably in the neighborhood of about 100 feet away through the forest.
Okay.
They don't notice us. I ain't gonna bother them.
It's cool, too, because you can see them couple of them, kind of phase into view, and it's like, oh, there's actually 8 of them. And then 2 more will kind of phase out, and the whole group has this, weird, shimmering, fading, hazy essence to them, and you can tell that they look like they're hunting.
Aranar's gonna look over at Axton to see if he's drooling or not. I know he wants that displacer beast cloak. Or cloak of displacement, whatever.
Well, your journey for this stretch goes on for a number of hours. You kind of trundle through the forest. You come upon a stream here of very odd cyan-colored, kind of blue-teal water with sparkling silver fish that sort of move around the rocks of this babbling brook. You notice what looks like a tornado of sort of pink dust that is just turning in place in the middle of the forest with no rhyme or reason to it. The top of the funnel stretches all the way up into the sky. Occasionally it branches off with a smaller little pink tornado that orbits the larger one and then disappears. This place is very, very odd. The physics don't really seem to follow the same rules as in the prime plane. You can see water dripping up into the clouds from a pool of kind of slightly glowing, shimmering water. And, a number of creatures that are beyond description, that don't really make a lot of sense, as far as how they would live. Something with 2 heads, one on either end, with, kind of a lizard-like appearance, but also with kind of snail-like qualities. You see a kind of a walking stick insect kind of creature that, and mind you, everything, based on how you rolled, everything kind of keeps its distance. It's just something for you all to look at and see. And this stick creature kind of jumps between tree branches, doesn't look like it wants to touch the ground at all. There's a flock of these blue feathered bats that sort of fly above your heads and in like a directed ribbon shape that flows through the trees and then roosts somewhere beyond. You all begin to grow tired. Your bones start to ache, especially those of you who I mentioned are having sort of an allergic reaction to the Feywild. Your bones are starting to really kind of creak and ache. It's kind of like living in Alaska. You don't really notice that it's nighttime. You just know that you must rest. And you know that you've been at this now for a few hours. So unless someone has a timepiece, I would say by your best guess, it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 8, 9 p.m. maybe.
So how much further do we have to go?
You see Ridge kind of pop off of his warthog and tie his sort of his bitten brittle to a tree. He says, "Oh, well, if you guys want to make camp, we can we can cut the trip in half. We'll probably get there at some point tomorrow afternoon, maybe.
Yeah. We should probably bed down then.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and speak for Yuno that he's definitely gonna put up a dome in this place.
Got it.
Enough room for everybody?
Huh?
Do we have enough room for everybody?
It holds 10 people.
Okay. Just make sure.
And 3 of your compatriots are considered small.
Okay. So I would assume we would set up watch schedules to keep an eye on the mounts.
Okay. Who would like to do that?
I'll take first watch if someone wants to join me.
I'll take first watch too.
Okay.
Ridge and the other 2 members of the Forced Watch are going to offer to take the second watch, which would leave 1 more slot needing to be covered.
Don't everybody speak up at once.
Yeah.
Asking for volunteers is the same no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
If I'm quiet, he won't pick me.
Yeah.
Avoid eye contact. Avoid eye contact.
Well,
that was just 1, I think. Gervish, you're the only one, or did I
I'll
hear?
take it too.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Should I go with me?
Alright.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Baranor and Koza.
Yes.
You find, the woodland folk, Kravish and Axton and Maven all kind of settling in for a few hours rest. And you sit on the outskirts of the dome. Mind you, you guys picked a beautiful spot. It's on sort of the side of a gentle sloping hill overlooking a clearing in the forest below. The sunset, which hasn't changed since you got here, is really beautiful right now. It seems like in the hours that you have been moving, this slow cloud cover has shifted to allow a just brilliant display of orange and pink light race across the sky as the sun just strangely sits there on the horizon, bathing the whole area in sunset light. It's breathtakingly beautiful. Temperature here is very comfortable, on the warm side of comfortable. Very, very high humidity though, and you feel like no matter what you're doing, you're kind of sweating. It's not an uncomfortable cold sweat like it was in the Called It Sticks swamps, but it's the tropics for sure. And I'll say that Koza and Baranor, you guys right away, you spot this massive tree with these very low hanging purple bulb-like fruit that are hanging on long, like 4 or 5 foot long vine stems, and it's only about 20 feet away from you.
Just spot it, that's it.
Okay, it's something interesting that's near you that you notice.
Hi.
Very well.
Not that anything is around you is less interesting. I mean, there's just like colored bulbed trees and bushes made of weird, neon colored fungus and leaves of purple, shades with blue dots all over them. It's very trippy. You two just kind of find yourself sort of sitting next to each other with a little fire that you guys made in front of you with the dome behind you.
Any sounds that I notice?
Lots of sounds.
Okay.
Oh yes.
All the
Lots of sounds.
All the sounds.
All the sounds.
Any
concerning sounds or interesting sounds? More interesting than others.
Yeah, it's truly difficult to answer that question because it's a little bit of a sensory overload, especially for you. You feel like you, Koza, and Maven, you can hear a lot better here too. You're able to compare it with your experience on your home plane, and it's a weird sensation to be able to hear a little farther. And you've always had pretty decent perception anyway, but here it's just kind of jacked up and on steroids, so to speak. So why don't I get a perception check from the both of you guys?
Okay, guidance.
Alrighty.
And you hear, you can hear.
God damn it! What the hell?
That sucks.
Yikes. Let's see if I can spill any worse.
We see nothing.
Yeah, we see jack shit.
Well, you know what? It's not that you see nothing, it's that you are distracted.
You see everything, and it's too much.
We see everything.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this. The two of you sitting side by side, kind of pointing out, oh, look at that cloud. That looks weird. And look at that mountain. It's kind of curling around. And you guys find yourselves kind of glancing around your surroundings. So much so that after 2 hours of watch, you kind of come to and you're like, oh, wait. We did patrol. So I'm going to need you both to roll a d20. Both of you.
Okay.
Okay.
D20.
D20.
Oh, now I roll high. Okay.
And I still roll low.
Okay. All right. Well, don't worry. This is all just for flavor. Because you happened to catch me in a good mood when doling out punishment.
Oh, Jesus.
Koza, you sat down in a particularly wet patch of grass, and to the point where you didn't realize that it wasn't water, that you kind of disturbed.
It was good.
You disturbed what looks like a very young basketball-sized spore pod. And
Fuck.
As you sat on it, well, you realized that when you sat on it, you caught it at the very, very beginning of its life cycle, because it didn't spray any spores out, because it was all still very wet and developing. So you just have a soggy butt.
Damn it! I just got new clothes.
We can have
it's kind of slimy as you get up, like it's got that stretchy, melted plastic consistency to it.
Well, when Yuno wakes up, have him do his thing.
Prestidigitate it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that thing.
Baranor, you, however, actually do a pretty good job of keeping an eye on the camp, and to the point where, as you're... Oh, wait, no, that was your D20 roll. Never mind.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
You did terrible on your perception. All right, so what you do end up doing is you become very focused on those purple fruits, and at some point you walk over to them, and you go over and grab one, and they're about the size of like a pineapple grenade.
Okay.
And curiosity gets the best of you, and you pluck one, and it doesn't explode.
Oh boy.
But it smells like grapefruit. It's kind of got like a citrusy sour, but also kind of like a bold smell. And you're tempted, so you take a little taste. And you instantly drop... No, I'm just kidding. It's a little bitter. It has kind of a heavy seed presence, almost like a yellow squash, and really kind of mealy flesh, kind of like a red delicious apple. The flavor is interesting, not particularly, wonderful. It tastes kind of like a weird fruit that you've never... it does taste a little like it smells. It's kind of got a citrusy... But it's got a bitterness to it that you weren't quite expecting, and that's when you kind of step back to the camp, and you and Koza kind of come to, and you guys realize that you haven't spent any time patrolling the camp. But your watch is over.
Okay, let's hope nothing stole anything from us.
That's the least thing I'm worried about.
Well, I mean, it's the Fae. I mean,
Yeah.
anything dangerous we would notice. It's what we don't notice that we got to worry about.
Let's hope you're right. There's a snake in my boots. All right. We're waking up. Some of the watch, right?
Yep.
I think Kravish and
No, they're the
the
last
third
shift.
watch.
Yeah.
They're last. Yeah, you shake awake the little fennec fox and his two friends, and they kind of snap awake pretty quick. Wipe the sleepies out of their eyes. They bid you all a pleasant dreams, and you see them do what you should have done and pick up their weapons and start walking slowly around the camp. Kravish and Maven. Maven, you are not asleep at this moment. You're just kind of, after your 4-hour trance has concluded, you just find yourself kind of awake and scanning the area. The three little woodland creature soldiers, they capture your curiosity as they kind of work in tandem. Since you're up so, awake so much, I will say that you notice that they're very well coordinated. And the way they hold their weapons and the way they encircle the camp, they're very well trained. You actually develop a little bit of respect for them and their order, in that they're so unassuming. Like, they have a mole man with them, like a little shrew, and a squirrel and a fox. Like, you wouldn't expect these to be highly trained, militaristic people, and they display a tremendous amount of discipline and concern for the welfare of all of you. That's about the time that they one of them saunters over and looks over at Kravish and looks at you and kind of gives you a look like, do you want to wake him or should I?
I can do it. Don't worry about it.
Alright, well, didn't really spot much going on. We're gonna hit the sack, so good night.
Night. I'll carefully wake him up.
Carefully wake him up, huh?
Hey, come on. Come on, big man. Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me find my pants. Oh, wait, I'm wearing them. Okay. Okay.
Home. Come on.
All right. We're watching.
Yeah,
Well,
we
let
are.
me start off with a perception check from both of you, or survival. It's up to you.
Skidded from a 16 with 3.
Ay. Okay. That's okay. That works. I can work with that. Maven, you are on high alert. All of your senses are dialed up to 11. You can see further. You can hear further. You can feel further. You can actually feel everyone's breath as it changes the dynamic or the flow of air within the dome. As you leave the dome, you notice that you can feel the breeze, but not just the breeze that's, blowing over the camp, but you can feel currents of air several hundred yards away. These colors all around you, these strange pulsing neon bright designs snake and curl around and upward the trunks of trees that you're not sure if everyone else can see. It doesn't offer any insight. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just your senses are picking up things that you've never thought possible before. Colors, shades of colors. You're able to sit there and analyze a leaf that falls in front of you on the ground and find, 400 shades of green and blue, and it's all very fascinating. Kravish is looking at you. And that's all he's looking at. He is fascinated with you. And Karish, I'll say it's warranted. She looks different. She still looks like Maven. She still has the facial structure and features of Maven. But if you were to put her on like a fairy filter, there's a halo of very dim radiant light that just sort of pulses from her heart outward. Slowly, this unnatural, strange radiance that slowly pulses. Like I said, her eyes are, at this point, a little more significantly larger. Not quite like a gray alien or anything like that, but she's just she's Sylvan. They're of the Fae originally, and you kind of know this. So, you're getting the feeling like this place is kind of reacting to her a little bit more than it is to Baranor or Koza, who also have, bloodlines that lead back to some sort of Fae heritage of some kind. But with Maven, it's like this place has made her into a Super Saiyan of sorts. And that's really all you're paying attention to. You could care less about the landscape.
Okay.
We'll point out all of the pillars, and I'm like, "Do you see this, or is it just me?" Just overly fascinated with everything that's going on.
It's all you.
So pretty.
Indeed, it is.
Right. Well, fortunately for you, your watch also goes by rather uneventfully, although something that you two notice is not the changing of the light in the sky. It still remains sunset. And even with your enhanced vision, Maven, you feel like the sun's not moving at all. Like it's just sitting there on the horizon. And you see that shape that you saw before, way in the distance, kind of in the gearing towards the western or northwestern portion of the landscape. That huge, lumbering, moving structure or creature. It's even further away now, where you can just barely see the outline of it as the purple outline of it blends in perfectly with the horizon. You can almost barely see that it's moving at all, just shambling ever so slowly. But you can imagine if you were right up next to it, it'd probably be very fast. But that's pretty much the extent of what you see as everyone else in the dome begin to stir and slowly awaken to the quote-unquote morning as the dome shimmers away after 8 hours and everyone begins to wake up.
Okay. Morning, everybody.
I'm going to say that the Forest Watch, they kind of give you all a look and say, time for breakfast. We'll be right back. And they're going to kind of give you Axton and Yuno and Baranor, along with Luna. They're going to kind of give you a look of, you got things here for a minute?
Maven, you and I have already been deemed the worthless ones by then.
Love that.
And they're going to disappear into the forest as everybody begins gathering up your stuff. They're going to return about 15 to 20 minutes later, and all three of them are going to have about the size of a large loaf of bread, grubs, we'll say, and covered kind of, there's little flecks of dirt on them. It looks like they dug them out of the ground. They're wriggling like crazy. They have very strange, they're mostly kind of a pale beige color, but they have these stripes of red and purple that sort of race along their stubby, fat little pincer-like legs. They've got a couple pairs of teeth that sort of gnash, but they're not very mobile, and they're able to kind of hold them still. Like, all right, we got breakfast. And they're going to just basically lay them right on top of the embering coals. You can hear these things instantly start squealing and shrieking as these things are being cooked alive. And, they sit there and they flip them over, and the things eventually stop moving. And then they take their little blades, their little knives, and they just start slicing sections of these little grubs off and eating them. And they kind of offer it to you guys as well. Like, want to get in on this?
I'll give it a whirl.
All right, who's eating it?
I'll eat it.
Hey, you know the saying, when in Dane.
Who is the Danish?
Yes.
I'm gonna watch them first.
Did you have the EpiPen handy?
Yeah, Yuno's gonna watch too.
Yeah, like I said, have the EpiPen handy just in case.
So
I'm gonna prepare a lesser restoration.
Yeah, I need Koza, Kravish, Baranor. Was Axton eating one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all of you give me con saves, please.
Okay. And not great.
Not bad. Not terrible.
Finally.
Dirty 20. All right. So, Koza, you are not above eating insects or grubs or beetles or slugs or snails or any of that.
I am above eating slugs.
Well,
okay.
That is where I draw the line.
So, you and Baranor take a big bite of this weird grub meat, and it just makes you think instantly of a mouthful of slugs, Koza. And it doesn't taste that great. And both of you are kind of forced to spit it out. And especially Baranor, again, you're also very used to eating, whatever you can forage in the forest, berries, nuts, and insects, and bug larvae and things like that. You've done it before. It's just something about this. The fact that it's so big and like bug juicy, it's just enough to make you kind of retch a little, to the point where you're like, you know what, I'm good.
It's a little gamey for me.
Kravish, this tastes great. You literally feel like you're eating like runny eggs, it definitely has like a spice to it. Right when you bite into it, that sort of morphs into a creaminess that you didn't expect to like. But yeah, you're into it. And Axton, you're like Mikey. You'll eat anything. And this is no exception. Honestly, you don't have the greatest sense of taste as far as what is considered cuisine and what is just kind of road grub. And for you, this is perfectly fine. You could see yourself kind of dining on this and sustaining and not having any trouble at all.
Kind of cut out there a bit, Joe.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, you're all good.
Yeah,
like the last second cut off.
Yeah, you enjoyed this. You can, Axton, you can see yourself eating this on the regular if you had to. It definitely does not disgust you.
It's like chicken.
Yeah.
Certainly doesn't taste like chicken.
Maven, you want some? It's actually rather good.
I think I'm okay. I think I'll pass. Think so. But I'm good.
Doesn't smell like the worst thing you've ever had. But as you all rise and ready your gear and have yourself a helping of your rations or a helping of their rations, It's enough to fill your stomach and get you ready for the day. The Forest Watch, they're going to lead the charge on this one. You do notice them spreading out and covering a wider, kind of a wider air search area. But you all notice them. Their heads are on a swivel. They are especially Bulge, the squirrel, just kind of darting his eyes around, keeping an eye on everything. So I will only require a perception roll from someone at the rear of the group, as they are taking the lead.
I'm not testing my dice right now.
That's fair.
Okay. Mr. Kovish with an 11. Yeah, you and Maven, I'm guessing, are walking side by side, taking in the sights, and this stretch of the journey is no less interesting. You find yourselves pass through a portion of forest with an odd kind of gypsum white crystal-like formations that jut up and out of the ground. It's a large patch, maybe 100 yards deep, the size of a football field, of these weird intersecting left and right leaning, maybe 3 foot in diameter, these huge white gypsum-like crystals. They're about maybe 30 to 40 feet. Some of them are really tall. Some of them are short and stubby. And as you kind of pass next to them, because it's kind of a tight formation, you can't exactly walk between them. You see there's a white kind of sandy powder that lines the floor of this portion of the forest surrounding all of these crystals.
Interesting. Do you notice the kind of this powdery stuff on the floor? On the ground?
There we go. Would I have any idea what it is?
Not unless not from a cursory glance from afar, you'd have to approach it and handle it.
Okay. Let's do that.
Okay. You pick some of it up?
Yep.
That's not a trick question. I just want to know what you're doing.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead and give me a nature
Are you
check.
sure you want to touch it?
I know, I hate asking that because it immediately makes everybody suspicious, but I just want to know what we're doing.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. So you have seen elongated white crystalline structures before. You're not exactly sure how different these are in shade of white, but they are kind of a white, brilliant color, and they are reflective. The facets of these growing crystals is reflective. You can see your reflection in them, especially you, because you're slightly glowing.
Were they obelisk shaped when she saw them?
It's difficult to say. They were all natural formations.
Okay.
And the Taliesin Monastery is not far from a natural. The mountain that the Taliesin Monastery sits on is a mountain of Swiss cheese-like tunnels and natural cave formations, and they're deep in those depths. At some point, you do find natural crystal formations, kind of like this. The only difference is that as you put your hand on this crystal, right before you even touch it, the air entering its space disturbs the surface and sheds like an outer flaky-like layer that disintegrates into this sand that is surrounding the base of all of these crystals. It's almost like these things are extraordinarily fragile, and any attempt to touch them, even getting close to them, just that disturbing air is enough to dislodge the outer layer of the rock itself. It's not terribly destructive. It's not like you touch it and it crumbles. But it seems very, very, very brittle.
I'll relay everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the sand on the ground, you kind of pick it up and run it through your fingers. It's gritty. It doesn't burn, it doesn't singe, it's not cold or hot or acidic. It seems pretty innocuous. I'm going to message Kenny about this. Is definitely interested in taking a sample of it. So he's going to pull out a little empty crystal vial and fill it with this white sand and put it in his pack. Anybody want to do anything else while we're here? All right.
No, we're just...
Baranor's got like the looking dead ahead so he doesn't vomit kind of look to him.
It wasn't that bad.
I know.
It was just a little. It was a little much, and you didn't know what to expect when tasting it, and what you got is not great.
Yeah.
But you finally emerge to this clearing, and in the distance, I'm gonna say Axton and Koza and Baranor and pretty much everybody who's got really high perception. You look up, and in the distance, about a quarter mile away, you see something in the sky. It's stationary, and it is disc-shaped like a UFO, and it is just a perfect circle of blackness, and it's about maybe 150 feet in the air.
Oh my.
And it's pretty wide. It looks like it's about maybe 60 to 65 feet in diameter. And it's about a quarter mile away. And you hear Ridge kind of snaps his fist up in the air, kind of like a halt. He's like, I think we're here.
I would concur.
Looks very portal to me.
Yep.
However, it's very high up.
Yes, it is. All right, you're up.
As you approach and get closer, you notice that there is a sparking, glowing, kind of an a runaway electricity kind of bursting of light directly ahead of you beyond some low-hanging bushes. You can just see light reflecting off of the trees and the surfaces around you, but you can't exactly see what it is.
Does it look like something, or is it a plant, or...
All you can see is arcing energy, the light of arcing energy sort of reflecting off of the trees in a kind of like a wide area beyond the bushes that you can't really see over yet.
Okay. I kind of look at the watch and Koza have you guys seen this before?
Yeah, the watch is going to say, nope. Don't know what this is.
Me neither.
We've never even been down here before.
Okay, cool. Let's investigate.
Let's scout ahead.
Let's go check it out.
Yep.
All right.
Shag and Scooby, you take the basement.
You approach the bushes, and as you walk beyond it, you notice that disc above you, that it's just pure pitch black, and around the edges of the disc, you can see it's kind of jagged and almost rock-like, with these very short, 1.5-foot long, wispy tendrils of smoke just sort of licking around the edge like fire, and accompanied by a ring of blue electricity that just snaps and arcs all around the circumference of this portal. You look at the ground directly underneath it, and you can see a very similar circular portal-like orifice ringed with electricity that just kind of snaps across and arcs across its surface at about 45 to 50 feet wide. As you get closer to this orifice, you can see down into the portal, and you can see pretty far down. Looks like maybe 50 to 100 feet down. You can see a forest and another portal on the ground below. And that portal leads to a volcanic, magma-like terrain that's even further down below that. As you look up into the dark circle, you can see in the distance above it, through the portal, another portal there. A ring of electricity. And through that portal, you can see what looks like a beautiful, celestial, heavenly, cloud-like scene.
Whoa.
You squint your eyes, and at the bottom of that magmic place, you can see another portal. Can't even tell what's beyond that one. A column of portals stacked on top of each other. And that's where we're going to end the session.
Oh my goodness.
What the hell?
This is weird.
So we're Dark World, right?
Multiverse of madness.
Something poked a hole in the multiverse.
Well, no, it's Thor Dark World, where they have the 9 realms aligned.
Yeah, where they align.
Like yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that, sure.
Kind of like that.
Like that, but not.
For visuals,
Like that, but better.
Yeah, they're not moving side to side. They're just all kind of perfectly stacked on top of each other. And I will say this. As you all stand here and look down into that portal, into what looks like the forest you left, you can see the wind like shaking the trees violently. And you can see that portal very slowly closing. Like it almost seems like the portal below you is much smaller than the one you're standing in front of. And it doesn't look like it's violent wind shaking the trees. It looks like they're in fast forward motion.
Interesting.
The time difference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But that's where we're going to pick up next week, or 2 weeks from now. Let's see here. I've got November 4th. Does anyone have issue with that one?
I think I'm working.
I believe I am at Toronto.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss the next 2.
Miss the next 2? Oh no.
Yeah, that's just the way my schedule rotates. Miss the next 2.
Maybe it goes catatonic and Feywild.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
well.
we may feel the passage of time in the Feywild in real time.
Exactly. All right, well, if too many people are going to miss it, I might just skip it for that week. But I guess for now, we'll just count on meeting for it. I do kind of want to have everybody here just because it's an interesting kind of arc, and I wouldn't want anyone to miss out. But we'll make that decision later.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
All right, folks. Okay. Well, thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah.
Yup.
It's been fun.
And we'll see you next time.
Bear and I have a long talking to with your dice.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
How many
need to,
2s
like,
and 3s can you roll?
I need to
Wave some incense over that shit.
And
cleanse
full
them.
disclosure, I did not mess with your dice.
Yeah, no, they were just,
Wave some
There.
incense, burn some sage, do something with it.
There's got to
Yeah.
be a way to cleanse digital dice. Maybe you just dip your computer in holy water or something. That works, right?
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
that would cleanse the entire computer for good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
It would be cleansed.
All right, folks. Well, we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye-bye.